The night of the 3rd of November was a peaceful night, like any other in the city of Car-Ella. Unbeknownst to the slumbering denizens of the city, that peace would soon be shattered in a most terrifying way. Late that night, guards were summoned to attend an incident at the Forest Tree Initiative. While it was not unusual for guards to be called to tavern disturbances, what they found there when they arrived made these veteran guards' blood run cold. It all started the day before, when a small group of alleged merchants arrived, bringing with them a vast amount of iron, if the stories are to be believed. Little did the good people of Car-Ella know that iron was not the only thing they brought with them. Which brings us back to the night of the 3rd of November, for when the guards arrived, that fateful night, they were directed to the rooms rented by those very merchants. Perhaps it was the shock of what they found, but stories of exactly what happened are a bit confusing. What is clear, however, is what they discovered in the blood-stained room. A number of bloodthirsty monsters, so horrifying that they will haunt the witness nightmares for years to come. Fortunately, reinforcements, along with one Lieutenant Dex, soon arrived on the scene, and one person was taken into custody. What follows is an accurate accounting from the trial of the Forester Inn Summoner. Join us now for Embers of the Wild.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Embers of the Wild, where everyone gets a fair trial. How are our two players?
Yeah,
Of course! This is a system built on honor and justice and doing the right. Everyone gets a fair trial here. Everyone.
Every human.
Yes, all people. That is correct.
yes. I have to say, huge props for that recap. That was like so dramatic, like court drama, like dun dun. I'm like ready.
I love it. I love the town perspective as well. It's quality content.
It's good. It's really
It's not fully accurate though, I must say. So don't believe it too much. You know, bloodstained
You
rooms
saying that
and monsters.
there were monsters, weren't there?
What?
Are you saying that's a subjective description?
What is a monster?
Exactly.
Good questions. Questions for the courtroom. We are two players today. Kyra will be hauling all the gold and all the wealth back to what do we call our place? Trog Canyon, because it cannot sit here for a week while we prepare for our trial. So, leaving behind our dearly beloved Autumn, Lusterly, who will be acting as the defense attorney?
Yes,
Essentially?
I'll be acting as the defense, and kind of like while we're preparing for all of this to go down, the trial, I've just been playing really sad songs outside the jailhouse to make them feel really bad about
That makes sense. Yeah.
everything.
Well, I think where last we left, Pearl was being hauled into solitary confinement because Pearl's a bit dangerous. Don't want her hanging around with other prisoners and accidentally summoning monsters to kill a bunch of people. You're too dangerous for Gen Pop, Pearl. You gotta be put in solitary.
I was hanging out with the very fine folks and myself, but
That was the first night, when the guards didn't know what was going on. But now that more attention is paid,
solitary
Too
confinement
dangerous.
might be a little bit less bad if it's just a week and I don't have to get bullied. So, well, depending on what that cell would be like, I suppose.
it's a small cell, stone walls all the way around you, bars in front of you. There's an aisle and there's a cell across from you, but it's empty. And you can see some other cells down here, but there's not that many. There's maybe only like 6 solitary confinement cells on its own sub-level of the dungeon. All of the regular prisoner housing is directly above you on the next floor up.
And the trial was supposed to be in a week. What day is it today?
Elves with PCs. Gold and map ready. Grizz Guts offers services. I think we're on the 5th or the 6th.
Oh my gosh.
We
the
ended
elves.
on November 4th.
4th? Okay. Yeah, because the gold is ready the next day.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right. Yeah, 4th was the tiny trial. The fake trial.
Mm-hmm.
That apparently didn't count.
It was like more of a hearing, right?
Yeah, they thought you were just going to plead guilty to all the charges, and so it was an abridged trial or a hearing of some kind. What would you call that thing? There's a term for it.
Oh, there is a term for it. Yeah.
It's not pre-trial?
Not acquittal.
Or...
It's I know the word. It's not a rend. It's not amend, but it's very close to that. Oh, what's this gonna drive me? Arraignment. It was the arraignment.
Oh, wow.
That does sound like a word. So I believe you.
Yeah. You don't need to look it up. You can just
arraigned.
trust me.
We're gonna be, full disclaimer to anyone here, nothing here is legal advice. We're probably gonna get a lot of the legal system wrong, so.
I have prepared nothing. But that's just because I want to stay in character, because like Pearl wouldn't have prepared anything, so
That makes so much sense.
And question about the cell, so cats like boxes, cats like cozy spaces.
Is it box-like?
Yeah,
It's got 5 walls. Or 3 walls of floor and a roof. But there's not really a lot of cover within it. You're not really hidden.
Who's across
from
from
that removes the good element of the box.
It's empty across from you. In fact, the entire solitary wing is empty. You are the only one here.
Damn, that's like doubly solitary.
Mm-hmm. And the guard post is up the stairs, across the hallway of the room above you, and then up the stairs and in a separate room there. So even if you call for the guards, they literally can't hear you.
Okay. Trying to figure out how bad this is. So, will I get any form of sleep? Because I have a bunch of short rest abilities. Am I ever gonna reset any of that, or?
You will. All your short rest stuff will come back because you can sleep each and every night without too much problem. There is a little blanket down here, and you're covered in soft little fur, so you should be okay. So all your short rest stuff should come back. In fact, you'll be taking a long rest here because it's a week. So in theory, you'll get everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're fed enough.
Too, but nice. Okay. And what food do I get here?
You get stew.
With what?
With potatoes and onions and celery and beans.
Okay.
And water.
That is not good.
What's wrong with that? That's a great stew.
It's great, but the Pearl is kind of a carnivore, so I'm trying to figure out how bad is it.
Aren't cats obligate carnivores?
Cats are obligate carnivores, yeah.
And for the people in chat who don't know the word obligate,
right? It's they gotta.
Oh, they're obligated to be carnivores.
Yeah.
They must eat meat.
Yeah, they don't properly digest other things in general. So
I see.
They do digest some of it, but not
like
properly.
Dogs have the ability, to eat other stuff.
Eat anything? Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the legal system here doesn't have the resources to feed their prisoners fine meats, especially when Ka'ela is on such a small island with so little arable land. There's no way they can afford to feed prisoners goat or chicken or whatever else they might find.
But there's so much land to the north. Can't they just start farmlands and?
Yeah, why don't you go tell them to start some farmland for you?
Well, I'm in a prison cell, so I can't do that.
But oh yes, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, remind me again of all the charges laid against Pearl.
she had already pled guilty to everything except for attempted murder, I think.
Right.
The other ones were, if memory serves, something like disturbing the peace, endangering the welfare of the city, and was there a charge of like
use
magic use in town?
Oh yeah, I think it was magic use, reckless endangerment, and attempted murder. Magic use.
Attempted murder is what we held issue with.
Yeah, magic use I just pled guilty to immediately. The reckless endangerment, we had a bit of a back and forth, and I think we disagreed, but I think I eventually said that I'm fine. Sure. And then for the murder charge, definitely not guilty.
Okay. Well, before we get to Pearl, Tristel, you're going to have a week in town to gather any evidence you need, to talk to anybody that you want to talk to, or you can just skip it and say that you're prepared and ready, and we can just fast forward.
What I would like to do is actually gather a few character witnesses for Pearl, for her defense. Because we actually do have quite a few people in town that could come to her defense and vouch for her character, which I think could help. Because I think the attempted murder is really the bad stuff. I don't really feel like that exile is an appropriate punishment for like magic use or just like tomfoolery. So I think if we can prove that the intent wasn't there, like that she's not someone who would attempt to murder someone.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you like to gather for character witnesses?
So Grizz for sure.
Right.
I actually
There was also the alligator.
The ranger, yeah. There's the ranger and the alligator family. Probably the alligator fam. Well, the ranger was there with us, though.
That's Grizz, yeah.
Yeah. So, Grizz, and then I guess, I'm trying to remember who else. Was it like the mother?
They had the great names. It was like Adaptech.
Yes.
And...
Adaptech. Let's bring in Adaptech.
Okay.
Trying to think of who else.
Right. It was Adaptech and Cash with their children, Kilo and Nibble. Meg didn't make it.
Yeah, the children were,
Traumatized.
There's that old man with the pottery shop.
That was in the other city, right?
Yeah, that's
Was that?
days away.
Oh, that was in,
There were the people you bought arrows from, the smith that you sold your metal ore to. There were the
I don't know.
elves.
They're the best.
There were some guards you spoke to.
I'm guessing they wouldn't trust the elves.
Yeah. Okay. So we got some character
Maybe
witnesses.
also the inn person. The there's like the wait staff that we were like super nice to. She could also probably speak to, we didn't make a lot of noise other than that night and very well mannered.
Okay.
I think those are solid character witnesses.
Yeah. And it's a pretty easy thing. Grizz is already on your side. You've saved her life. She will absolutely act as a character witness on your behalf. Adaptech and Cash will also absolutely work as character witnesses for you. You saved their children. You saved Adaptech's husband. The innkeepers... See, they're being also called for the prosecution as witnesses. So they're going to be there anyway. They'll let you say, ask them whatever questions you want.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Ooh, what if we brought one of the... Ooh, this is wild. One of the... my words are escaping me. The Draconians.
Oh.
Yes.
That is deeply spicy.
That could be too spicy.
I feel like
But
they
they
wouldn't
could...
like that, but...
But they could be like, yo, it was a an accident. No, we're scratching that one. We threw it out there. We felt it out. We're tossing it out.
Should I be part of the scheming? I feel like I should shut up because I'm in solitary confinement.
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask if Pearl's in solitary confinement. Is there any like visitation that I'm allowed to like plan her defense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well then let's
that's
assume
the
that
situation.
yeah.
You're
They're
down on
hiding.
one side of the cells in the solitary wing. She's on the other side of the cell wall. And a little stool has been brought for you to sit on as the two of you plot and scheme for the lies you'll overwhelm the jury with.
Well,
Who else?
presenting these things to people. I guess if Kyra's going back to Trog Canyon and there's a week, how many days is Kaela from Trog? Curious if there's enough time for somebody to come back.
It's about 3 days there if you go quickly. 3 to 4 days usually. If you know your direction and it's just one person and you're really booking it, you can make it there in 3.
But then it would still be like 3 to 4 on the way back for someone to come help.
Yeah, another 3 on the way back, maybe 4. So in theory, you could get someone in a week, but they might just barely make it under the wire.
How much money do I have? Do I have to be the defense? I'm actually not certain I have a ton on me.
I think we were kind of waiting for the sale.
Exactly.
Of all of it and whatnot.
Exactly. That's where all our money was.
There is that large shipment of gold that is being sent out today. You could probably swipe some of it if you needed something, but you'd be stealing from the town.
True.
Nah, that's fine. I don't know, Pearl. Is there anyone else that you think we should call for your defense?
No, I can only think of people in Trog Canyon, but that's not gonna work. And like Stuka. But Stuka's deeply weird. I feel like that wouldn't work.
Chaotic.
Yeah, I feel like bringing Stuka would just like give us bad associations.
Yeah, that's true. That's not the
But
best.
you can trust us. Just listen to our necromancer friend.
My character witness, the undead army.
Okay.
Exactly.
What's the situation in Kaela as far as legal practices?
Please explain more. What do you mean?
Are there lawyers? Are there law people?
Yes, there are. There are just a few from the olden days before the war that retain this specialty, and a couple of semi-apprentices, which are not very good because there's not much use for lawyers in the sort of post-apocalyptic era.
Could I present this kind of like case to them and gather their rates?
Oh. All right, roll me.
Jeez.
Make me a persuasion check.
All right. Blow on the virtual dice.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Nice. That's good.
So there is an old lawyer around these parts. And her name is Tara. She's got an assistant with her, her daughter. Name doesn't matter. And Tara listens to you when you get directed to her offices and you explain what's going on. And she'll sit and hem and haw and chew on it for a moment. And then look up at you and say, well, what would you want? You want me to defend this Pearl person?
Completely innocent. Well, some of the charges are a bit we could argue it, but attempted murder is absolutely crazy and not something that we're going to admit guilty to.
Well, I'm mostly retired, but I can give you some advice here on this front. Here in Ka'ela, we make a distinction between self-defense and murder. Attempting to defend yourself from a deadly situation, it does not qualify as attempted murder. Someone comes after you in an alleyway with a spear, and you throw a brick at them to defend yourself, and it hits them in the head and they die. That's clearly not attempted murder. That's self-defense. There is a narrow, what we call a switchover, though. If the person comes at you with a spear and you knock the spear out of their hand so that they can no longer stab you with it, and then you throw a brick at their head, they were no longer a threat to your life at that moment, and then that would be attempted murder. So if you want to prove that this is not attempted murder, you're going to have to show to the jury that at the moment of the danger, it was very plausible that Pearl's life would have been in jeopardy. You're going to have to show that correlation very, very tightly.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions? I'm happy to aid you with anything ahead of time, but the sciatica has been acting up, and I've got the gout in the ankles, and...
Of course. Well, thank you for the advice. I think that's all I have for the moment, but...
If you have any other
Thank
questions, don't hesitate to come back.
Of course. Thank you. Based Terra. Okay.
What about you,
Let
Pearl?
me see.
Do you got any ideas?
No, self-defense was like the only angle that I was gonna go at. So
Yeah. Like no intent. Like there's no intent to murder, and
Yeah.
like that removes intent, and then self-defense.
I think
And clearly self-defense is more compelling in this jurisdiction.
I think they will argue that my use of force was disproportionate. Because magic is like very frowned upon. So I think the way to go at this was that there were like 7 people attacking me, and we'd already heard of threats of kidnapping, and this has happened before. So I think we're in a good place to say that I was actually in danger, because there are 7 people like barging into my room, and so I feel like that. I think that's the strongest argument we have. Because then the only proper bloodshed was not even me. I'm pretty sure that was just a draconian that attacked one of them. But that was not me.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anything, there's draconians out there wanted.
Exactly.
How many bandits were there again? It was like
There were many. I thought there were like 4.
3 or
and then
4,
I looked back in
yeah.
the VOD, but they were way more. I think there were like 6, maybe?
I think there were 6 to 8 in the hallway.
Yeah. But 2 directly entering my room, I think.
I'm looking for the map we drew. The map is gone. Unfortunate.
on the top floor. So what I'm thinking, okay, a week. Gathering character weaknesses probably doesn't take too much time. I'm wondering if I can track down these bandits.
Oh, during the week?
Yeah.
They arrested
They arrested one of them, didn't they?
Yeah, either one or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The video that I edited is on watch it on the break. It's very good.
Oh.
It's very important.
Okay. Yeah.
There was one arrested bandit who is being held. If you would like to question that bandit ahead of time, you may.
Ooh. As like part
That
of
is
the
part
trial
of-
proceedings?
Yeah, it's part of discovery. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk to him.
Excellent. Pearl, of course, can't see him.
Yeah.
Pearl has to be kept in prison. But you can be put into one of these interrogation rooms with this bandit. A lantern sits overhead with a little shield bringing the light down, held by a chain. The bandit's got cuffs, wrists together, attached to like a little U-shaped thing stuck into the middle of the desk. There's a door with like little bars for a window with a guard standing outside. And they can sort of overhear what's happening through the little window a little bit, but they're not actually paying attention, looking inward towards you. And it's just you and the prisoner.
Hello there.
You're that woman that was with the creature, huh? What do you want?
Pearl, my friend, and my name is Tristel. What is yours?
She'd fetch a pretty Pearl if we could get that coat off her. My
And your
name's Bob.
Bob.
You got a problem with my name, huh?
Actually, I think it's a wonderful name. I do wonder, this animosity. You seem to have put yourself in this situation in jail. How do you feel about that?
Why? I maintain my innocence here. I was on a... what do you call it? Just trying to rid the world of monsters and make a pretty penny to feed my starving 5 children. Man's gotta make ends meet, you know? Got 5 kids. What am I supposed to do? Just let them starve? And here's this thing walking through town, clearly not human. A lot of money to be made that way. What are you gonna do, huh? Trade one strange thing's life for the life of 5 children? Sounds like a good trade to me.
A little
wasn't
misguided.
a traitor.
She's not really a monster, but what you're saying is actually not too different from how we go about the world. That's what we do. We go and kill monsters and protect people. We do the same thing to protect our own people.
Yeah, then you get where I come from then, you know?
I mean, absolutely.
You want to put in a good word with the guards for me?
Well, I think your heart is in the right place, I'll be honest. You really shouldn't engage in such unlawful activities, though, but perhaps there's a way I can help you.
I was not prepared for this kind approach. You're throwing me for a loop here.
Tristel, charm, never.
What can you do for me, huh?
Well, the events of the other evening seem to have been misconstrued by the town. See, we were only trying to protect ourselves. I think that any of you all can vouch for that. You do admit you were trying to harm us.
Well, kidnapping ain't harm. We're just gonna put a bag over her head, smuggle her out of the city, sell her to one of the warlords out there. That's not harm.
So,
It's smuggling, maybe at worst, But it's a victimless crime because it was a monster involved.
by your own words, you wanted to skin her and sell her fur.
I just assumed that I didn't say I was gonna skin her.
I think you did say that. I think you said her fur could fetch a pretty penny, so...
Yes, her fur could fetch a pretty penny. But I don't know how to skin. I'm not a tanner, I'm a laborer. I don't have the skills to skin anything.
So would you... Okay, so you'd just be procuring her fur skinning. So harm, yes? Okay.
don't put words in my mouth. It's
I'm just trying to understand your own words. So
I was just making a passing remark about the pearls she could fetch.
Well, in any case, I
Starts to
don't
sweat.
think that. Yeah, I don't think that you can really argue your way out of coming with weapons to our inn room in the middle of the night and not causing us harm. So, with that in mind, I do think there is a way that we can work together.
You get me out of here? What do you got?
Can get you out of here, maybe. Well, the thing is, what you've told me is that you're a family man. The things that you do are for your family.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We
I got
just
5
so
kids.
happen to have procured a large sum of gold. We could provide for your family if you can come to the trial and admit that you and your buddies came with the intent to harm us. And we merely acted in self-defense. Well, that's for us to argue, but what do you think?
What do you mean harm? Harm's a pretty...
Kidnapping is a pretty violent act.
How are you going to provide for my family?
Well, how much gold would you like?
Now we're talking. I want 100 gold per kid.
For your family. Interesting. How many children do you have?
Got 5 kids.
Out of character, how much gold were we planning to get?
You were getting 1 pound of ore. No, 1 pound of paint is 10 gold. Or I think you were trading 1 pound for 1 pound. So you were getting...
It was like, we have plenty.
500 pounds of iron. You were going to bring back 500 pounds of gold. 500 gold. 500 pounds of gold? That can't be right.
I thought it was pounds. I thought it was like an absurd amount that we were like, really? That maths?
Yes, it was an absurd amount.
500 is quite a lot, though. So.
10 pounds of iron is a gold... No. That was 10 pounds of iron are going to be a gold, but the conversion rate was... over here somewhere. Yeah, is that right? I think you were getting... Oops, that's not how you do calculators. I think you were going to get at least 2,500 gold.
Okay.
I've got to check my exact notes. Something like that. You clearly have a lot of money. What's the exact number?
Okay. Okay. 50 gold. Or 100 gold. That's what you're suggesting. So 500 gold for your children.
Let's see. Yes, you were going to get 25,000 gold. Yep, that's correct. 25,000 gold pieces. And these folks here, this prisoner, this bandit, is asking for 100 gold per head of child. And he's got 5 kids, so he wants 500 gold out of the 25,000.
It's a bold request, considering the fact that, well, if you're in here, your family's without food and comfort. Oh, that's so awful.
I got friends. You know, I'm not alone in the world. You know, our people, we stick together through thick and thin. No matter how hard the times get, we always got each other's back. That's what it means to be part of a group, a gang, a clan, a tribe, a pack.
Understood. See, I just don't know if we're on the same page. Maybe maybe I'll just go. Sorry for intruding.
Well, just hold on. What about this gold? 500 gold's not a big deal to travelers like you, right? You're made of money.
Oh, see,
Look at
you seem to have quite a great understanding of gold and making it, and well, you understand there are costs associated with our work, our travel, and well, it just seems you're not that interested.
I guess you
Thanks for
don't
your
need me as
time.
much as you thought you did then.
Well, we have other ways. I've already prepared quite a lengthy lineup of witnesses, and actually I happened upon some elf friends who may or may not be tracking down your friends as we speak, so not sure.
He spits on the ground in the dungeon. Elves? Ugh. God. By all the gods. Figure people like you hanging out with monsters like that would also associate with elves. I hope your friend rots in jail forever.
Well, your friends may also be rotting with you in jail very shortly. Well, I will offer you one thing though. So a bit of gold that I could stand apart with. 100.
For me to say, you're there to kidnap her?
You're already in jail. Would 200 sweeten the pot?
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta make sure it gets to my folks, though, before the trial. I ain't saying anything unless they've been paid.
Alright then, we'll shake on it. I pay them. In fact, they could even come visit you and confirm that they've received. Of course, you must say nothing of this.
Of course.
Do we have a deal?
He reaches out his hands, but they can only go so far because of the restraints attaching him to the table.
Alright.
All right. Deal struck. How are you going to get his family paid? Is that going to involve like a sketchy journey into town to pay them? Are you not going to pay them? What are you going to do about this?
Pay them. Thought it was kind of fun to be a mafia boss for a second.
True.
I am above questionable means to an end.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay. So I'm assuming he probably gave me some information about his family.
Yeah, he'll tell you that you can find them in the downtown district. That's downriver. They have a small little place with a white paint that's sort of peeling and a door that has blue and green stripes across it.
Okay. I want to be cloaked.
You can draw your cloak tightly around you, or find get a cheap cloak in town to help hide your figures. And then into this south side of town you go.
Yes.
Way in the downtown district. Searching through the areas, you'll see that this part of town is much like the others. Tall buildings create shadowy streets. Folks all around it are sort of, eyeing you with suspicion as you come by. This has less folks just sort of sitting in the middle of the street and more like people clustered around tables. And if anything, this part of town just looks more run down. The whole of the town is sort of like tired and old and needs repairs. This area has like repairs that have been happened on it, but they're like not that great. A section of wall has been collapsed and been replaced with other bricks and sort of like tilted slightly down onto it. It's a more worn, more old, run-down section of the town. And you get a lot of suspicious eyes as you walk through here. You're clearly not one of the folks who lives here. But you eventually come across this striped door.
Are there a lot of people? Am I still being looked at?
There are people about, and there will be glances cast your way, but you haven't drawn the attention of everyone in the streets. There's definitely people about.
Okay. Okay, let's go for it. Just
Okay.
knock on the door, I guess.
Sure. A few moments pass, and then the door is opened. Oops, wrong die. There's a woman with a ugly scarred face who opens it. She's kind of got thick cheeks and a furrowed brow. And she looks over at you, scans you up and down, and goes, "Who the fuck do you think you are, huh?"
Hello,
Immediately
miss.
taking a hostile tone.
Trying to be nice and not. I have some rather urgent business to speak with you about. About Bob.
Where is he, huh? Did he knock you up? I swear by all the god,
Oh,
by
absolutely
Velfara's.
not. Listen, I'm here to help you. Can we speak inside?
She opens the door all the way and waves you in. Kind of glares out into the streets and yells, "What are you looking at, huh? Back to your games," and shuts the door so that people can't look in. There are 3 kids standing there looking up at you, wide-eyed. One of them's 3, one of them's 5, one of them's 8.
Can we speak without the children present?
Kids, go to your room! The kids dart and hurry up the stairs. You can hear the pitter-patter of their little feet up the stairs and then down the hall and then the door shutting.
All right. Bob ran into a bit of trouble. Currently, with the law, in jail rather.
Which harlot is he with? I've heard this story before. Huh? You're one of his friends here to try and assuage my woes while he's off drinking it up and living the good life?
I mean nothing of the sort. He's come into some trouble. However, let's call me a friend of a friend. The one thing he did tell me about is how much he cares about his family. And now, I'm not sure for how long he's going to be in jail, but the one thing he wanted to make sure of is that you all were taken care of.
Her face begins to soften. You're too pretty to be one of his friends. Is this true? Is he really locked up?
Yes, that is not a lie. So...
Well, is it serious?
It could be. To be honest, I'm not quite sure how it's going to turn out. All that I know is there is a bit of gold that we were able to agree on in the event, that he's not able to get out of jail. At the very least, you all are provided for. So, pull out some gold. Here's 100. Another 100 will be on the way after a trial occurs. So he was involved in some crimes, but after the trial, whether or not that goes in his favor, if he's still in jail, at the very least, you have some gold to take care of your family.
She looks at the bags of money that you hand her and flips through it and goes, "This is a lot of money. Who are you? What's your name?"
My name's not of importance. Just
How do you know my
that
husband?
This is sincere. We came across each other in our travels. Battling monsters and all that.
He fights monsters?
I'll leave that for him to explain at another time.
Well, can I see him in jail?
No, I don't think he's allowed to have visitors at the moment.
Sure, I mean, if you can visit him, surely you can watch the kids for just a half an hour while I go up to the guard's house and see what's going on. You could just watch him for a little bit, right?
I'm sorry, I don't know how to speak to children. Thank you. I'll come back with the rest of the gold.
There's only 3 of them. That's not that hard to watch.
And I just kind of like and then leave.
All right. You're out. You're gone. Money has been delivered. Okay. We've got character witnesses. We have an arrangement with a mobster. Is there anything else we need to do in our pre-trial prep? Pearl, do you have any ideas of things that you need to do?
I don't think so. I mean, I probably shouldn't cast any spells in preparation of anything.
Can't go wrong, right? What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
You're already in jail.
True, yeah.
For high crimes.
I don't know if there is anything I can do, really.
I'm kind of doing some math right now. I think he told me that there are 5 kids, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound... Think he would lie to you at a time like this?
There could be 5 kids, to be honest. The way his wife reacted, maybe just not all of them are there with her. I guess I want to visit Pearl one last time just to like hugs, and also I do want to let him know that the gold was delivered and that she was upset because I told her I said she was going to visit, but then I realized if I had her visit, my lies would be shown.
Yeah, you can meet with Bob one more time. Tell her that you met with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He'll nod and be like, and she got all the gold?
Yes. I gave a portion to her. I'll have the rest at the end of the trial, but she seemed a bit upset with you and didn't want to visit, so that's why I couldn't tell you. She said something about another woman.
Yep, that sounds like Martha to me. Yep. Always suspicious. And I ain't never given her cause to be suspicious.
Oh, surely.
Yeah, no, just... I'm an honest man.
I'm quite certain of that. Well, at the very least, I think you should be proud of doing what you can to provide for your family. That when I told her that this gold was for them, oh, you should have seen it. All of your crimes would have been forgiven, surely. All right.
You only gave her part of it, though? Thought the deal was 200 up front.
Oh, well, you said that we just needed the gold before. You didn't say all of it. Is 100 up front, 100 after sufficient? I have it.
He's going to make a wisdom check. His wisdom's not the... chews his lip a little bit and goes, it'd be better if we could get up front. You know, there's 5 mouths to feed down there.
100 will feed 5 mouths for quite some time, yes. And you'll have the 200 swiftly.
Yeah. I guess
Can I put my hand out and like try and like you can trust me.
Give me another.
Yes.
Is this a deception check or a persuasion check here? How much truth is there in this statement?
Well, they're both the same modifier for me.
Okay, that's fair. Go ahead and make me one of those 2 checks.
I'm persuade. I believe I'm trustworthy. I don't know.
But you are intending to give the extra gold when the trial's over.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, if it's an honest thing, then persuasion, another 24.
If he had asked me to do 500 and I saw that there were 3 children, I would have been upset, but we haggled it so low, it's fine.
Okay.
Small price
He
to
nods.
pay for her freedom.
He accepts it. And there goes that plan. All right.
Hold on, I just want to say as I leave, I'll see you in court.
He bobs his head, and that's that. Pearl, you've been quiet about your self-defense here. Do you have any statements that you'd like to make, or any things that you'd like to prepare before?
No, I don't know if there is much I can prepare because I don't have access to anyone or anything. So, I think I would just enjoy the room as much as possible. Just take it all in, observe the ceiling and the walls and see what it's like.
And what are you going to do with the remaining 6.5 days?
Repeat that until I go slowly insane.
Okay.
But is the temperature good? Is it like I can nap?
No, it's too cold.
Okay.
It's way too cold.
I do have a lot of time to clean myself at least, so I can look fancy.
Totally.
Or
yeah, your fur is going to be laid out in all the right directions. The back of your tail is going to be super clean too. Mm-hmm. The whole thing.
Yep.
Head to toe. Great. That leaves you with 5 more days.
Like,
oh no.
Shawshank in here.
Oh yeah, is anyone visiting me? Like from the I guess the shit.
The
what are they called?
prosecution?
The prosecution.
Prosecutor have any questions for you pre-trial?
So that I have something to do?
Yeah. Yeah, a prosecutor will... They've got just a small little interview they'd like to conduct with you. Just a real small one.
Okay. Bite-size.
Like the other prisoner, you'll have your hands bound and attached to a table. But unlike when Tristel was interviewing this her figure, Bob, there is a guard in the room with you when the prosecutor comes in. You get shackled to the table. And the prosecutor sits for a moment, regards you with some patience, finally comes to the, well, if it isn't the prisoner, I will be your prosecutor. I only have one question that I need to answer, and if you refuse to comply, we'll just add another charge of... What do we call it? Subverting evidence? I think that's not the right term. It's not the American term, but it'll do for the Kaela term.
I don't need
of
to
subverting evidence. Great.
Don't worry
great.
about it.
Would you please hold out your paws?
I'm still shackled to the thing, right? I will attempt as much as I can.
And would you please extend your claws?
Wait, what for?
Would you please just extend your claws, miss?
Sure. Okay, and then I'll do that.
The prosecutor will plop out a big heavy ruler and set it next to your claws and measure, and then make a note and go from claw to claw, measuring the length.
What's this about? What are you...
I just wanted to make sure that we can prove you are armed and dangerous at all points in time, and that you carry concealed weapons on your person.
Okay, but these are not concealed weapons.
You'd say these are 5-centimeter claws at the least, right?
I mean, yeah,
and
but...
you can retract them so that they can't be seen?
Okay, but I'm sure you have arms that you can strangle people with at any moment. That seems like a weapon to me.
My hands are quite obvious, though. They're not concealed.
You could conceal them.
I think that's all we need from you, miss.
Look,
guards.
I don't have a choice in this matter. I can't not conceal them.
That sounds like an unfortunate circumstance of birth that I'm not responsible for.
Well, am I responsible for it?
You carry concealed weapons on you at all times. You could trim your claws, but these don't look trimmed. These look pointy and sharp and dangerous.
Well, they're useful when hunting for food.
Hunting for innocent people in our town. I see.
So that's what you
hunting
think I do?
Hunting for blood.
Have you talked to any townspeople who have met me? Of how much I've been trying to hunt them down?
The prosecutor gets up. I'll see you in court. And heads out.
And
what do we... why don't we take our first break right here? We'll come
right.
back on the other side with the trial of Pearl.
All right. We'll be right back. See you in a bit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Embers of the Wilds. Our party waits a week and gets brought to the courtroom. It is the day of Pearl's trial. But before we get to the courtroom, Pearl, on this day of all days, you get brought a nicer meal than the other ones that you've had. Okay. You've been getting these weird stews with potatoes and beans and a couple of veggies, and it's maybe not great for your diet. But on this day, you get brought a couple of fish. Uncooked,
nice.
just
Hell yeah. Okay.
Fish on a platter. That's it. They hand it over to you. And the guard, as they hand over the fish, looks you up and down and goes, you know, if they're going to execute you, they're just going to do it today. There ain't going to be some time in between, so I figured I'd bring you one last meal just in case.
Oh, thanks.
Stops and watches.
Thank you. A little
All
taken
you got
aback.
to say?
What?
No apologies? No,
Apologies? For what?
oh, I don't know. Attempted murder, summoning monsters into the town.
No. I mean, I haven't done that. I'm just saying thanks for the fish. I've been wanting fish for so long. The food here is terrible. I don't know if you've had it, but it's not great.
He shakes his head. Ungrateful prisoners. Here I go out of my way to bring you a nice fish, and all you can do is complain about the rest of the meals.
What? I'm sorry. I very much appreciate this meal. I'm sorry.
That's a little better. Okay.
Can I still have the
guard
fish? Or...
grumbles to himself. Yeah, it's yours. It's yours.
Okay, thanks.
And stumbles off.
I will devour them immediately as soon as they walked off. Try to keep my composure, not to be too excited when they give them to me.
Okay. The day of the trial arrives. Everyone will shuffle into the courtroom. The witnesses that will be called are brought already. The prosecution is here. The judge is here. Pearl's here. Tristel is here. And I think it's time.
What's the vibe of the room?
Everyone's sort of a little bit quiet, a little bit tense, but not super. You know, this is just an ordinary day for most of these folks. For you, I think the vibe is perhaps a little bit more tense, something like that.
Guessing if it's a little bit more intimidating than last time.
Let's see. I don't think we got a name for the judge last time, did we?
I
It's not in any of
don't
my notes.
think so.
We might have.
The prosecutor's name is Lady Brianna. And the judge's name... I think the judge was also a woman, but it's been a hot
Yeah,
minute.
she
but I'm
definitely
pretty sure-
was.
Yeah. No, we cannot name her after that. No, not a good name for a judge. Here we go. Her name is Admina.
Anina?
Admina.
Admina.
Admina will sit down. The bailiff will come over and untie Pearl's. Well, no, actually, they're going to leave your hands tied to the table in front of you because you are a spellcaster, and they don't want you to accidentally cast any spells in the middle of the trial. And after everyone is settled, the judge will start us off. We're here today for the trial of Pearl Riverdale. She looks to you to make sure she got your name right.
I will nod.
The charge against her is attempted murder of Bob over here. Bob, would you please stand up? And Bob stands up a little bit and sits back down. Opening statements. First from the prosecutor, then from the defense, which I believe in this case will be Lady Tristel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Excellent. Lady Brianna, please. And Lady Brianna gets up, paces back and forth in front of the 12-person jury. Looks at them. Looks to the judge.
Oh, wait.
Says,
Autumn is gone.
Sorry, Cat.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we find ourselves here in a difficult situation. This outsider has come into our town with promises of gold and wealth and bountiful goodness for all of our people. And while here within our towns, they did the very same thing that happened in the war. They used their magic recklessly. They summoned monsters into the city to attack people, and then claimed that they had no control over anything that they could do, and that these were just magics that flowed freely through them. And if we all remember the magics of the war, those of us old enough to remember the magics of the war, it is exact things like that which caused the downfall of society, which brought Rabara to where it stands now. It is magics like these which have been outlawed in our town. It is magics like these that bring danger everywhere we go, and it is magic like these that caused that almost caused the death of citizens of Ka-Ella here. This cat woman thing before you here carries concealed weapons on her, carries magic on her, and does not hesitate to use them without any forethought, without any concern of how it might affect the people around her.
What do you mean does not hesitate to use them?
The judge gavels you down. Silence in the court! Silence in the court!
Am I not allowed to defend myself?
Not during the opening remarks.
Yeah, not right now.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
All right. The prosecutor straightens her little vest. Sorry, after such a rude and barbaric outburst, I've lost my train of thought. Where was I? Right. This stranger, this foreigner who does not know the ways of our people, came in and almost killed us all. What would have happened if those monsters had run amok? What if, instead of summoning monsters, she had created a giant fireball that engulfed the entire city in flames? For these reasons, we must find her guilty of attempted murder. She's already pled guilty to reckless endangerment of the town. That's all for now. And she'll come and sit down. And some of the people in the audience will rabble, and the judge will silence them again with the gavel. And then look to Tristel. And our defense, Lady Tristel, has some opening remarks.
Yes, Your Honor. Quick question out of character. They took my lyre, right?
Yes, that was taken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of my magic. Okay, well,
Yes.
no music then. Hello, fair people of Ka-Ella, Your Honor, the court. We come here today to defend an individual who's been wrongly accused of attempted murder. It is true that we traveled here from very far to share our resources from our humble home, reach out with the greater world and share the wealth of our minds. In fact, we come here with peace in mind to grow the connections between our world that has been so broken by war. Pearl here has only ever shown kindness and gentleness to all those she encounters. We were happy to stay in a lovely inn. Oh, what a beautiful city you have. Definitely admire all the people here. And one night we were attacked by gestures at Bob. This gentleman and his companions, and merely only acted out of self-defense. Again, we mean no harm anywhere we go. So, I think the evidence today will speak for itself in defense of Pearl. Thank you.
Okay. Sit down. The judge, Admina, will tell you that the prosecutor will present their case and bring any witnesses. And after each witness, the defense is allowed to cross-examine each witness. And then once the prosecutors presented their whole case, then the defense can present their whole case, and any witnesses that they call, the prosecutor can then cross-examine. And at the very end of it, we'll have some closing statements, and then the jury will retire to deliberate. The whole thing should only take a couple of hours, because this case seems fairly straightforward without too many complications. Lady Brianna, would you please open up for the prosecution? Lady Brianna comes up, looks around. Judge Mina, I'd like to call my first witness. I'd like to call the innkeeper. And the innkeeper is brought forward, goes to the witness stand, is sworn in, by all the gods, high and low. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Of course, yes, I do. And Lady Edmina stands before the witness stand, leans heavily on her arms, looks into the innkeeper's eyes. Innkeeper, you recognize the defendant over there, don't you? The innkeeper nods. How could I forget such a character? And you've seen this person before? Yes, they stayed in my inn during the event in question. Mm-hmm. And had you know them before that? Well, we had heard about a creature like her in town before, but I don't think she's ever stayed here. Or if she was, maybe it was one of the nights where I was off and about. But I think I would have heard... No. She's never stayed with us before. I see. And tell us, did she have any unusual requests during the time that she stayed with you? Did she say that she needed any special considerations, special accommodations? No. It was just room for her and her friends for the night. I think actually separate rooms for her and her friends. And there were only 3 of them, and we had the rooms because, a lot of room in the city. Right. They only rented 3 rooms, right? Yeah, that's it. Just the 3 rooms. Uh-huh. And there were just the 3 people. Yeah, just the 3 people. And she didn't have any special needs, any special requirements. She was just an ordinary person on any ordinary day. Well, I don't know about ordinary person, but yeah, just normal, everyday stuff. I see. And did anything happen that night? Well, not the first night, but the second night that she was here, there was a big commotion. Guards got called. People were screaming. By the time I got there, oh man, what a mess! There were people running every which way. There were soldiers about. Weapons were drawn. People were being arrested. It was a travesty, And innkeeper, did this affect your business in any way, shape, or form? Were you impaired or harmed by the goings on? Well, yes and no. I mean, business has been slow these past couple years. Certainly, it doesn't, give us a great reputation. There's a lot of open inn rooms in the city, and it's quite possible that in the nearby future, people won't come to stay at my place because that's where the infamous cat lady. I'm sorry, I don't know what to call you, miss. But the cat person. That's might scare away some customers. Could be. Prosecutor looks at him and goes, "Mm-hmm." And did you personally see...
And speculation.
The judge nods and says, yes, jury, please disregard the remarks about any lost business. It doesn't pertain to the crimes here, and also there's no evidence for that. The prosecutor says, sorry, Your Honor, sorry. Did you see this person being attacked at all? Well, I heard a bunch of commotion, but did you see yourself this Pearl Riverdale being attacked? No, I did not. And did you see Pearl Riverdale fight anyone? No, I didn't actually see what happened. I just heard about it from the guards and the other people in the room. Thank you. Your witness. She will leave the innkeeper to you, Tristel.
All
if you
right.
have anything you'd like to ask.
If I'm hearing this correctly, you didn't see anything that went on, you only heard it secondhand?
That's correct.
Thank you. Did you happen to see the bandits that entered your establishment at night?
I saw some of them after the fact, yeah.
I see. So you didn't see the bandits, but you did see that they had entered.
Well, they were in the inn by the time I got there.
Hmm.
But that was after the commotion.
Do you employ any security measures in your establishment? Is this type of happening frequent?
No, miss. We don't have any soldiers or guards or protection or anything like that.
All right. As far as the party staying, was there any trouble before this?
With these people? No.
Yes.
This is the first trouble that they caused. She
All right.
caused.
No further questions.
And the guy is dismissed. Lady Brianna will call her second witness. It's going to be, what was his name? Mark? Dex. Lieutenant Dex of this town guard gets brought forth and sworn in, sat down. And the prosecutor will look at Lieutenant Dex and say, Lieutenant Dex, you are a member of the town guard here? That's right, ma'am. And you were called to the incident that night? Yes, ma'am. And would you please characterize what you saw before you? Well, when we arrived, they were bandits. Clearly, there was a Bob over there. Is bandit really the appropriate word for this man? Yes, ma'am. I do believe that is the appropriate word. I would like to object to that mischaracterization. And the judge looks to Lieutenant Dex, and Lieutenant Dex says, well, this man's been in this courtroom before this very judge, and found guilty of crimes including banditry in the past. So I think it's a pretty accurate term to describe Bob over there. The prosecutor sort of frowns, but lets it go. Would you please continue your characterization? Right. So we arrived at the town. At the inn, we had heard screams, there were shouts, there were some whistles blown by nearby guards, and, pauses for a moment. He reviews what he remembers.
I do that too sometimes.
I should have spent less time talking during the break and more time reading. Right, so we arrived after most of the commotion was over. There were a bunch of Bob and his friends. Some of them had already fled the scene. We didn't have the manpower to track them all down, but there were clearly a bunch of them. When we got there, there was Bob, and he told us that he'd been attacked by monsters in Pearl's room, and there were some other witnesses at the scene that could corroborate the happenings. People would poke their head out the doors and seen down the hallway and into the room that there are all these people, creatures with teeth and scales and wings and fangs and armor and weapons, and these citizens here, clearly human, who didn't have anything in the way of armor and were only armed with sticks, clubs for weaponry. Yeah. So it was pretty clear that these monsters, who weren't there anymore and were there one moment, gone the next, were summoned creatures. Summoned by the person in the room, the self-identified spellcaster. That these summoned monsters had attacked Bob and the other bandits. And most of the bandits had fled. And if you understand bandits, you know, they're here to do a job. And if they're going to flee and scatter, it's got to be something pretty dangerous and life-threatening to cause a bandit gang like this, who's breaking into an inn in the middle of night.
This is all so much speculation about the intentions of others.
Would the two of you step forward, please? And she calls the prosecutor and the defense attorney up to the judge's table, and the judge leans in and goes, "You're saying the Lieutenant Dex's characterization of the events are speculation?"
characterizing them as monsters is a matter of opinion, not fact. As well, to speculate about the motives of a bandit and what makes them leave and run and escape, I think is all just. Unless he is a bandit, he can firsthand speak about that experience.
Lieutenant Dex is an expert in law enforcement. If anyone is to be an authority on the motivations of bandits, it would be Lieutenant Dex. But I'll give you that the characterization of creatures as monsters is unduly prejudicial. And she looks over to Lieutenant Dex. You'll refrain from referring to anything as a monster. Please use the word person or creature if their personhood is in question. Do you understand? And Lieutenant Dex nods. She has everyone step back. So, these creatures were summoned by Pearl, or, at least into Pearl's room. I can't say for certain whether they were under her control, although that's what people reported to me at the time. And the bandits did scatter and flee, and being somewhat of an expert on banditry myself, if you're going to be breaking into an inn to kidnap a person, which is what, Bob had told me, you're not going to run. You're expecting a fight. You're expecting some amount of struggle. So for them to scatter and flee like that means they had to come across something pretty terrifying for them, in my expert opinion. And what the other witnesses saw, toothed and clawed creatures or people with weapons and armor. And we all know weapons and armor are outlawed in this town, so I think it was a pretty terrifying sight and pretty dangerous situation to be in. And the prosecutor will say, And, was Pearl injured? Did you see any blood on her? I assume blood would show on that precious white fur of hers. Lieutenant Dex says, no, there was no blood, I think. I didn't see any on the defendant at all. Fur was a little out of place, but I guess that's what one would expect in a situation like that. She seemed emotionally shaken, but physically fine, by all accounts. And she looks at Lieutenant Dex for a moment. Lieutenant Dex, have you ever had to deal with rogue spellcasters within the confines of the city? Unfortunately, I have, Lady Brianna. There have been a couple of rogue spellcasters who came through here, and it's been my job and the job of the town guard to keep them in check. Usually it's been minor things, someone lighting up an area that they're not supposed to. Those have been easily taken care of. There was a necromancer who passed nearby the lands fairly recently and made a bunch of undead alligators. That was quite troubling. Luckily, they didn't actually stay within the confines of the town, but they did plague the outside. Real dangerous stuff, The prosecutor nods. And Lieutenant Dex, you're an experienced man of combat, are you not? Yes, ma'am, I am. And you're experienced with the ways of fighting and warfare and self-defense, I would say so. In your mind, to your expertise in combat, if you're being attacked by 2 people, let's say, do you need 6 people to defend yourself? Do you mean me? I mean generally a person. Well, generally even numbers gives you a pretty good chance. If you're being attacked by 2 people, you might need 2 people to defend yourself. So you would say that how many of these creatures were in the room with Pearl at the time? An exact head count is hard to get, but there are at least 4 cited in there, confirmed by multiple witnesses. Some said 6, some said 4. Everyone agreed at least 4. I see. So would you say that 4 heavily armed and armored creatures is more than sufficient to defend yourself against 2 unarmored men who only have clubs? I would say that 4 heavily armed creatures and a spellcaster is excessive to defend yourself against 2 brigands with clubs. And do you think that it's fair to characterize summoning 4 to 6 heavily armed creatures while you yourself as a spellcaster as an attempt to kill your opponents. Well, I mean, if they've got heavy armor and weapons, and they outnumber these people 2-1 at least, looks to me like there's bloodshed going on. And these creatures, they don't look particularly friendly. They're covered in scales, lizard-like, kind of mean eyes, wings, and wearing armor and weapons. You don't bring armor and weapons into a town unless you don't wear armor unless you're expecting a fight. You don't carry a shield unless you're ready to be attacked. I get carrying maybe a sidearm for defense in a situation where you're allowed to, but armor means you're looking to get into a fight. And you're summoning creatures that are wearing armor. It tells me that you're here for bloodshed. Thank you, Lieutenant Dex. That's all. And Judge Edmina will call Lady Tristel to cross-examine the witness.
Nice to see you again. First
And you, ma'am.
question. Can you confirm the number of bandits that were present during
I
the
believe
attack?
it was 6 bandits present.
I see. That number 6 is different than 2, correct?
I'm under the impression that 2 were in the room, 3 were in the hallway, and 1 was on lookout outside the inn.
See, and so, just so I'm understanding, 6 bandits, 1 individual, allegedly 4 draconians?
4 to 6.
Certainly. At the moment of Pearl being attacked by these individuals, one would say that she was the one outnumbered, correct?
Prior to the summoning of the creatures, I do believe it would have been 2 bandits and 1 Pearl Riverdale. That is outnumbered, yes.
We are visitors to this town, so please, if you'll indulge, would you enlighten me as to the laws around self-defense here in Ka'ela?
If someone is trying to kill you, you can use any amount of force you need to defend yourself. But if they are not trying to kill you, then you are not allowed to maim or kill them in response. You can injure them in self-defense, but if they're not attempting to kill you, you should not attempt to kill them in exchange. Is that good enough for you? I can find the statutes if you want, but they're written in legalese and they're kind of boring.
I think that's ample explanation. So I'm interested in the characterization of these bandits as harmless. Would you not consider clubs, sticks, as you say, weapons?
Yes, I would call a club a weapon, an improvised weapon to be precise.
They were armed.
Yes,
Attacking
ma'am.
Pearl first. And
Yeah.
then she responded.
Yes.
One last question. When confronted by this altercation, did Pearl resist in any way to being arrested?
She verbally protested, but she did not attempt to flee or really resist in any way, other than complaining. The judge looks at you. Was that all?
Question.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Sorry, is my...
It's cutting out
I
every
think you
now
might
and then. It's mostly at the start of your sentences.
Hello?
Yep, that's
Hello.
Okay, well then maybe I'll just move it a little bit closer. No further questions, that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. And Lieutenant Dex is dismissed. Up next, Lady Brianna calls the witness Bob. Bob comes to the stand and sits down. His hands are worse, sort of tied together, but they're released for the time while he's on the stand. But the bailiff's right there, just in case things get spicy. Bob is sworn in. He swears to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help all the gods. And the prosecutor will look at Bob and say, Bob the bandit. Bob nods. Did you go into the inn with your companions on the night in question? Yep. And were you there? Well, why don't you, in your words, tell us why you were in the room? Well, we seen this monster coming into town. We got the white fur, the tail, all the ears and everything. We see this creature coming around town. And she's got that, like, soft fur. And, I was thinking, people like mink coats. People like raccoon hats. People like bearskin rugs. Look at this snowy white cat thing over here. Someone wants that cat. There's money to be made with that cat. And, hey, I got a bunch of kids. My friends, they got kids too. We got families to feed. Times are hard. We all know times are real hard around these parts. I'm looking at this inhuman beast walking through our streets.
Hey,
and
this
I'm
is
thinking to
inappropriate.
myself, the judge gavels slightly. You can speak when it's your turn, defendant.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, the monsters all around here, and we're getting thinking to ourselves, this creature's dangerous, We see her
quietly
walking around.
To Pearl, this is good for us. Just let him keep talking.
We see her walking around, she's got that, that aura of fancy magic around her bits. And, just things stand on edge when you get near her. And we're thinking, well, she's, clearly a danger to the town, We see her, pull out her claws one time, when she was stretching out her arm like that, and these huge claws come in. So we're thinking, this creature over here, it's got a nice coat, and she's dangerous. She's sort of scary. She could kill someone with those weapons. She doesn't have a permit to carry, but she's carrying them anyway. And we figured, we'd be doing the town a favor if we got rid of her. And two birds, one stone. We capture her, take her outside of the bounds of town, and get rid of her somewhere else. Maybe make some money for ourselves, protect the town in the meantime. I don't think that's, be called banditry, sure, but I've had my trouble with the law in the past, but I'm a reformed man now. I got a bunch of kids to take care of. And so we went there that night with all the best intent in our heart to capture, not kill, this creature so we could protect the innocent people of town and sell her off into one of the warlords out there in the plains. And so, maybe kidnapping is usually pretty frowned upon, but look at dangerous spell casting, claw wielding monster like her. It's for the good of the town. The prosecutor says, well, that's you would know that that's a very dangerous thing to do if you see that she's got weapons and that she can cast spells. You would be taking your life in your hands to protect the town in that way. Well, certainly, ma'am. Yeah, it's a very noble, self-sacrificing thing we're doing over here. Is it really self-sacrificing? Well, we might have gotten hurt, That's why we had to bring the clubs. I see. So the clubs were there for your own protection against this dangerous thing. Absolutely.
Objection, Your Honor. This, no.
Do you have a clear objection? Aside from just no?
Words. It's purely speculation on his part that he needed anything in defense for a crime he was going to commit. I don't think that should be taken into consideration.
The prosecutor will say, I think, Your Honor, it speaks to his state of mind. If he believed he needed clubs, that goes to the witness's state of mind. I think that's fair. The judge looks back at you, Tristel, with an eyebrow raised. Sustained. No, overruled. So yeah, there's a dangerous monster in the town. We're gonna just, take care of it for everyone. Town guard is overworked, underpaid, Yep. Prosecutor goes, right. And tell us what happened that night. When you illegally broke into the inn? Well, I mean, you hadn't paid for a night No. And you forced your way in. The door was unlocked-ish. Unlocked-ish? Yeah, unlocked by the time I got there. Hmm. And what happened? Well, we had scattered. We had word from a friend which room she was in, so we came in at night, went up the stairs, and started picking the lock. But boom, the door opened, and there we were, confronted by the creature. So I hopped in there. We went in there. We tried to grab her and drag her out, and then poof, puff of smoke, flash of sound, a lot of confusion, and then boom, monsters everywhere. And they had these weapons, and they started attacking, and there was steel, and we tried to make a run for it as best, and it got complicated. And it's all a blur from that point, but there was magic involved, and then I got captured, and oh man. And did you use any magic of your own? No, ma'am. We don't have any spellcasters. And to be clear, you were going to capture this person and take her outside of the city limits. Yes. Yes, Your Honor? No, that's the judge. Yes, ma'am. Bob, how do you feel about the term bandit? Yeah, you know the old story. You steal a loaf of bread and you're labeled a thief for the rest of your life, even if you're a changed man. But what are you gonna do? What other people call you? What they're gonna call you, huh? There ain't no room in the world for ex-cons. I see. And why did you feel the need to protect the town, Bob? I'm a citizen of the town, am I not? And you said you were gonna sell her for money? Yes. What do you do for work, Bob? I'm between gigs at the moment. So you have a family? Yeah. How big is your family? I got a wife and we have 3 kids together. And if you are hurt or incapacitated, there's how do I say? If you're out of work and you're already between jobs, and your wife is looking after the kids, I assume she's the caretaker? Yes, she's the caretaker. Then there would be really no money for anyone. That's right. So you would need the money from selling Pearl in order to provide for your family. That's all. Judge Edmina will look to Lady Tristel. Lady Tristel, anything for Bob?
Yes. Bob.
Yep.
When you came to the inn, your intent was to kidnap Pearl, correct? With your companions.
Uh-huh.
Now, quick question. Did you know that she had magic beforehand?
I mean, she looked pretty witchy to me.
So you didn't know?
I've got a weird feel. We followed her around town a little bit, and I got a weird feeling being near her. I thought, that weird feeling was magic.
You followed her, so you were stalking her.
A hunter I guess a hunter stalks its prey, so yeah. We stalked her.
Interesting comparison. A hunter stalking their prey. So, if I'm understanding correctly, you followed her as a hunter would its prey. To her inn with no evidence that she had magic or was a danger at all. Is that correct?
She's got them claws.
I see.
I got a weird feeling near her. I thought she might be able to cast magic.
You've got a weird feeling. Now, claws are interesting. Do you have nails, sir?
I do.
Do you trim them often?
I chew them when they get too long.
Okay. Well, I guess that's upkeep. Anywho. So, if I'm understanding correctly, you didn't know for certain that she could be dangerous, but you did come with weapons, yes?
Well, I thought she would be dangerous, yeah. And so we came with weapons because I thought she'd be dangerous.
Okay. And you did come with the intent to kidnap her, and if I'm understanding this correctly, you were not only going to kidnap her, but your intent was to ultimately sell her to be skinned.
Well, hey, I didn't say nothing about... I'm just gonna sell her to one of the warlords for whatever they might... Maybe they need a wizard or whatever she is, or maybe they want a pet, or, I don't know, maybe some zoological study. He looks proud that he knows the word zoological.
About selling her fur.
Just part of the fur, I guess.
Okay, sure.
I mean, yeah.
How many of your companions came with you to the inn during that night?
There were 5 others with me. Yeah.
Were they armed?
Yep.
Were they aware of your intentions? What was their reason for being there?
I mean, we're friends, we're buddies, we all hang out together. We all knew what was going on. We talked about it. You know.
Sure. So you came with your friends, all armed, to someone who you weren't certain was dangerous, but could be, but, well, you have more weapons than they do. And in the realm of possibility for things that you were going to do with her after kidnapping includes slavery, flaying.
Selling her to warlords? If that's slavery, then sure. I'm not on trial, am I? Right now? The judge shakes his head, like, no, you're not on trial at the moment.
I think I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Excellent. Okay. Judge Mina says, Bob, you're dismissed. Any other witnesses, Lady Brianna? Lady Brianna. We'll call one more witness, but we're not going to bother. It's just another person who can verify what Lieutenant Dex said, like personally seeing Draconians in the room. And they just say, yes, they saw Draconians and describe them. The witness can be turned over to you. Maybe I should give you some details so you can work off of any detail I have. The Lady Brianna will call the next witness, a middle-aged gentleman, and ask him, did you see anything that night? You were in the room that night, the inn that night? Yeah, I was in the inn that night. And why were you in the inn? My house burned down and, well, smoke damage. We gotta stay somewhere for a little while while we wait. Were you at the inn with many people? Just my husband and my son. Right. And, what did you see when you heard the commotion? Well, I looked at my room and there are all these scaly critters, wings and armor and stuff. And they're wielding weapons and there are a whole bunch of them in that small room. And, I could only peek a little bit through the door. I didn't want to get myself in any danger. Okay. Did you hear Lieutenant Dex's testimony earlier? I did. And does that match with what you saw? Yes, it does. No further questions. And then it's handed over to Tristel.
I guess as far as calling in other character witnesses, I'm not sure if we could just kind of skim over those too. My purpose really is to just call them up and say how do you know Pearl?
Yeah. Sure.
How have you seen her character? She's literally always helping all of them. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The prosecution has rested their case. It's up to you to call any witnesses and review any people. We can do character witnesses.
I think Grizz would probably be the only one I'd call for a character witness.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Grizz will take the stand. She'll be sworn in. She swears to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help her all the gods. And she's yours to talk to.
How did you meet Pearl?
Pearl Riverdale, along with yourself and another warrior, saved me and some of our citizens from zombie crocodiles in the swamp. That's how I met her.
Quite a story.
Yes,
What
it is.
was Pearl's role in all of this?
She is one of our defenders. She helped arrive, and with sword and sorcery, and she helped fight back the crocodiles and free us from the small room we were hiding in an abandoned house deep into the swamp. She was a primary savior.
So she helped you all then?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be here today without Pearl Riverdale.
That's a very kind thing to say. I really only have one more question. During this encounter, did you ever see Pearl, since you have this first-hand experience fighting alongside her against a deadly threat, did you ever see her use her claws as a weapon?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. No further questions.
The prosecutor comes up. It's Lady Brianna again. Grizz. Full name Grizz Guts, I believe. Grizz nods. You are the ranger for the town here in Ka'ila. As such, your honor and opinions are beyond repute. I have no questions for you. I'd just like to thank you for your service to our town. Everyone knows you to be a true and loyal defender and scout for Ka'ila, and the whole town owes you their thanks. You're welcome, says Grizz before descending the stand. The judge will look to you one more time. Tristel, any other witnesses?
Only one last witness, Your Honor, and it is Pearl herself.
Oh.
Pearl, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you by all the gods?
Who are all the gods again? I forget. Do I need to remember them?
You gonna tell the truth?
I mean,
You
yes.
swear to the gods that you're gonna tell the truth?
I will just, yes, I will tell the truth.
Please take the stand.
Okay.
Pearl Riverdale. So explain to me what happened on the evening of this incident.
Well, we were staying at the inn, and I was a little bit nervous, because we've been hearing a lot of rumors about bandits, and we also saw some bandits following us earlier during that day. And so I was a little bit nervous when I was going to bed that night. And so I was staying up a little longer than usual in case there were anyone who would try and break and enter. And eventually I heard some footsteps outside, and I had, locked my door, but all of a sudden I heard that someone was trying to pick the lock. And I didn't really know what to do. I wasn't entirely sure what I was facing on the other side, and I was hoping maybe it would just be like one person, and maybe I could scare them away or something. So as soon as they unlocked the door, I flung the door open, and I saw many, many scary people out there. And then
That is terrifying. You were afraid during all of this?
Of course. I just wanted to sleep, and then all of a sudden all of these people just barged into my room.
That is quite frightening. Did you notice if they had weapons?
I'm not sure if I'd be able to tell. I don't remember that much from right as they were... You have to understand, they were jumping over me and trying to tackle me. I don't remember that much from that event, but...
Oh, that is frightening. So they assaulted you first, then?
Well, yeah. They broke into my room and they jumped over me.
But what happened after that?
Well, I kind of panicked, and with all the rumors going around with kidnappers, and so many people had told so many horrible things about me, and I was really worried that I would be sold to slavery or flayed alive, and so I panicked, and I felt like I had to do something to survive and not be kidnapped and die. And so I did use magic to defend myself.
See. Had anything happened before? Have you been faced with the threat of being kidnapped?
Well, mostly verbally. I've heard a lot of people mentioning... Well, I guess there were the people attacking our town. And yes, they very much wanted to, again, sell me to slavery. So yes, this has happened before.
Terrifying.
And multiple times I've heard people wanting to do this with me.
That's certainly reasonable then to have that fear, especially if someone's been following you.
Mm-hmm.
So, when the Draconians were summoned, was this your intent?
No, it was definitely not my intent. I just
So
wanted
it
to
was
get
an
out of there as
accident?
quickly as possible, and I just didn't want to die, and I panicked, and I accidentally summoned the Draconians. I don't even really know who they are, but all of a sudden they were just there.
It's frightening, and I'm so sorry that you had that happen. Fearing for your life, just reacting, and an accident occurs. And were any of the bandits like severely injured to your awareness? Were
Not
they
that I'm
stopped?
aware of.
Were the Draconians stopped?
Well, from what I remember, I tried to keep them in the room and just ask them to stay there. I was really worried how the town was going to react to, I've all of a sudden brought these monsters here, apparently. The town would call them monsters. And so I just wanted to figure out how to get the Draconians home, because I think I recognized some of them. And so I was going to try to figure out if we could, talk to some of the guards, find a way to just take them out of the town and lead them home. And as I was talking to the guards, they disappeared. And so I'm not sure where they went, and I hope they're okay, but yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Pearl. So, it was an accident. They were summoned, and then they disappeared without any of us needing, or anyone needing to do anything. So, it sounds like you were the only person that were in real danger.
I would think so.
No further questions.
Lady Brianna comes up, paces back and forth for a moment, scans the assorted jurors, looks to Pearl. Pearl, did you say that you didn't recognize the Draconians?
I don't know their names, but I did recognize one of them.
So you've seen them before? You know what these creatures are?
Yes, we have met Draconians before, and...
How do you know Draconians?
Well, there are some Draconians living near our town. We had a bit of a strained relationship for a long time, but we've talked and actually gotten to know some of them, and we have still a bit of a strained relationship, but we're still cooperating in defending the town, because there's a lot of dangerous creatures about, as well, all the warlords and everything happening.
Right.
So we managed to make some friends in the Draconians. Well, at the very
so
least,
say some of these creatures are your friends, then?
Well, friends is a strong word, but we are allied.
Acquaintances,
I suppose. At least the ones.
Allies.
Yeah,
Let's go with
near
allies.
near our town. We don't know all Draconians, of course, but
No, certainly, but you know at least one of these, and it's presumable that you might have met the others, you just didn't recognize them.
yeah, that seems likely.
I see. When you were in danger, did you try to summon help? Maybe summon your friends to you to assist you? Maybe summon your allies to assist you?
Well, I was screaming for help, and so I knew that my friends were staying in the rooms nearby, so I was hoping for them to wake up.
Mm-hmm. But when you summoned the Draconians, weren't you, in effect, at the time trying to reach out with your weird magic and call forth your allies, your dangerous armor and weapon-wielding allies to your assistance?
No,
What were you trying to do with your magic, then?
I was trying to escape.
How?
Well, I I don't know how.
What magic effect were you trying to escape?
I'm not entirely sure.
So you didn't try to cast a hold person spell, for example?
No.
You weren't trying to cast any spell in particular.
I don't really know the particular spells or even their names. So
you just have magic at your disposal that you call upon, and it just does things.
Sometimes it does things that I can't predict, yes. There are a few things I can do that I can predict, for the most part. But it's a little bit... I'm still working on it, okay? I'm still trying to learn. But I met someone once that told me that it's going to be harder for me to do this. Because I'm apparently not a wizard. Apparently I'm a sorcerer. And she told me that life would be a little bit harder, but...
I see. So you used magic to summon help, and your allies, these weapon and armor wielding creatures, arrived to help you.
I didn't intentionally summon them. I had no idea this would happen.
You've said that you don't even know the names of your spells. You just sort of call out for magic to be done, and it is done. And in this case, you were calling out for help, and help arrived.
Most of the spells that I use, I do know and can predict what will happen. I just never read about them in a book. But this is not one of those spells.
What spell were you trying to do? Even if it doesn't have a name, you should be able to describe it to us, right?
Well, I was trying to move myself out of the room as quickly as possible. I wanted to be somewhere else. I didn't want to be there anymore. And when I panic and I try to use my magic to escape a situation, it's a little bit more unpredictable than I would have hoped. And so it kind of didn't go the way that I thought it would. So I didn't intentionally summon them, but once they were there, I was really scared what would happen if the town guard would find out that I summoned these creatures, and I know a lot of people would be scared of them, and I had to figure out some way to get them to get them out of town and not scare anyone else, and I was really complicated. I very much didn't intend to summon them.
Okay.
Well, as you can see, it made everything so much more complicated, and now I'm in jail because I made this mistake.
Pearl, would you show us your claws?
I don't see how that's relevant.
That's fine. Would you show us anyway? All the way out, please, to their full extent. I believe I measured them at 5 centimeters.
Okay. And then I will hold up the claws.
Whoa. The prosecutor says, look at those. Would you just could you hold those claws to my neck for just a moment? Without cutting me, of course.
No, I don't. What is this? No, I don't know.
I just want to show the jury that you are concealing weapons on your person. Dangerous weapons.
Objection. This is conjecture about the ability of her claws. Are we measuring the canines in the mouth of the prosecutor? Are we calculating the force that they can expel with their bare fists?
You're right. Everyone has weapons on them. Hands, feet, teeth. If we're going to talk about this person carrying concealed weapons, then we're going to have to talk about every human and how sharp their teeth are and how capable they are of biting people. Sustained, jury will disregard the concealed weapon counts.
And if they were concealed weapons, wouldn't they have confiscated them? I wouldn't even be allowed to be here with my so-called concealed weapons.
A chuckle rolls through the jury. Even the judge gives a bit of a smile at that. Lady Brianna, well, I think that's all I have for this witness in particular. Thank you. And Judge Edmina will look to Tristel one more time. Do you have any other witnesses before we go on to closing statements?
And Your Honor, thank you.
Well, closing statements. Lady Brianna for the prosecution, please. Lady Brianna steps up and says, well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is a dangerous situation before us that we see. We have this person, Pearl Riverdale, coming in here. We've heard today firsthand accounts and secondhand accounts of the creatures that she summoned to help fight off the bandits in her room. We've also heard by Pearl's own statement that she didn't know what she was doing. Now, what do you think is more likely? That this creature, Pearl, has come into our town with magic, uses it against the rules here, which we all know in this town you're not allowed to use magic. The guards tell everyone who enters the town that you're not supposed to use magic here. And that she is so inept and so incapable in using her magic that she just accidentally summoned her friends to help her. Or do you think that she is lying to us today and that she is a capable spellcaster? She is a capable sorceress. We've heard from Grizzguts the Ranger how Pearl was instrumental in helping save her from those crocodiles. Do you think that Pearl Riverdale is so inept that she just accidentally summoned her very well-armed and armored friends into an inn-room? Or do we think that this was an intent by her to summon her allies to fight off these bandits, and she summoned people with the weapons and armor to even kill them? I think it's quite obvious that Pearl here intended to bring in armed guards via magic to attack these folks. And allies, but also tenuous allies, it sounds like, certainly not allies of us. How can we trust that these monsters wouldn't also have attacked and murdered or innocent people within the town? Certainly they didn't, but that's well within the possibility of what could have happened. To say that Pearl had no control over herself is, if you can't just say, I didn't mean to, it was an accident. I'm so inept at my great magics. My great and terrible magics, I have so little control over them that I just do these things willy-nilly. And if you are so inept as to have that little control, aren't you responsible for your actions? If you accidentally blow up a town because you didn't mean to do it, but you're just that inept at it, aren't you responsible for the deaths caused by that? Aren't you responsible for the magics you employ? Aren't you responsible for the summons that you create? We've all seen firsthand the effects of magic on the world around us, how devastating it can be. I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that Pearl Riverdale here is responsible for the creatures that she brought. She chose to bring her murderous friends, and she attempted to murder the bandits with these guards with weapons and armor. I think you should find her guilty of attempted murder, and I rest my case. The judge waves to Tristel.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think what we have all seen today in court makes this case quite clear. Here we have the defendant, an individual who has consistently put herself in danger on the behalf of others. She's already been a benefit to those here in Ka'ela and elsewhere. And what happened was a girl on her own who's already been threatened with being kidnapped. This is a fear for her life that she's already experienced, and she knows too well just how easy it could be to be captured, to be killed, just for the way she looks. Now, the prosecution would like to state that it was her intent to murder these individuals. However, all of this conjecture overlooks the fact that they were the ones who came with weapons to her door in the middle of the night, a locked door that they were attempting to open. She stated that she feared for her life. Who wouldn't in the middle of the night being attacked? They're forcefully trying to enter her room, and who knows what else. Now, the events that happened afterwards, again, has been stated that they were a mistake, and regardless of the prosecution's insistence that she is a capable spellcaster, all of that is moot point, because the fact remains that her actions were in self-defense. Everything she did was in reaction to these bandits, we've all agreed, is true. Individuals who have a history of crime, a history of violent crime and theft. If any of us were encountered by these individuals in the middle of the night, who wouldn't want to defend themselves? And so, Pearl here is not guilty. She acted in self-defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, it's quite the trial we have here. Jury, please take your time to deliberate. The bailiff will lead you into the next room and then come back and take Pearl back to a holding cell while we wait. Bob, I think you're slated for trial later in the week for attempted kidnapping and breaking and entering, so you will also be taken to your own room. With the two justices, the defendant, the defense and prosecution attorneys, please remain in our chambers while we wait for the verdict. And with that, I'll adjourn the court, and we will meet back in 10 minutes.
Is that a call for a break?
Is that break time?
Yes, it's break time.
Okay, all right. See you in a bit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Embers of the Wild.
I heard the
jury is
jingle
out
in my head for the Law and Order.
Good. I paused for it, and I was hoping you would put it in there with your own brain.
Mm-hmm.
The town is not out, or the jury is not out for long, and they will return fairly quickly, and they'll step forward. And the foreman of the jury, a man named Foreman, will step forward. This is my first time being on a jury, so I'm not sure how this is supposed to be done. The judge, Lady Edmina, will say, just tell us what you've decided, the fate of this person. Well, not the fate, but the innocence or guilt of this person on the matter of attempted murder to be. Well, the jury got together and we listened to what the prosecutor and the defense had to say. And what really sold us is that regardless of whether or not Pearl intended to bring these armed and armored creatures, there were a bunch of armed and armored creatures in the room, and none of them got killed. And it seems to us that if she can summon them, she probably could have used them to kill these people. And since the guards didn't get there for minutes or hours, they probably could have killed all of them, or at least a couple of them, or at least wounded them severely. And that they weren't actually killed makes us think there was no attempted murder, just, menacing and scaring. But we also, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but we also don't like her. I mean, she summoned... You're not allowed to say monsters. Can I say monsters? The judge shakes her head. These armed creatures into the town, that's pretty fucking scary, so... she didn't try to kill anyone, so on the count of attempted murder, we find her not guilty, but we beg the court to get rid of her, please. The judge's like...
Wait, what does get rid mean? Get rid of mean? Well, what does that mean?
We'll just go back to our canon.
The judge looks at you and says, it means nothing. They only have authority over your guilt or innocence in this matter, and no other issues. So, on the count of attempted murder, the court finds you not guilty. I believe you have other outcomes from previous admitted guilts that does exile you from town, never to return. And so...
Can those really
Pearl
never
Riverdale.
be overturned?
Wait, 20 years.
20 years?
You are outlawed from Kaela for 20 years. Or until someone rules otherwise. And that is it. Court is adjourned.
Yeah.
Was that good? Did that...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think murder would have put you in jail.
Oh, yeah. But I didn't think I would have to be exiled still.
We can... I think there's some leverage. We can probably appeal that in the future.
In 20 years?
We can probably do it before that, but... we only come here to sell things.
Well, we made some friends.
They can always meet us outside of town.
I guess, yeah. You're not exiled, are you?
I don't think so, but I'll be honest, I'm not too keen to visit again anytime soon.
The bailiff comes over and unties Pearl's hands, sets her free. But kind of stands nearby you. The judge will come down from her booth and say, Pearl, you are a free woman as long as you're not in our town. I'll give you the choice of exiting on the north side of the river or the south side of the river, and the bailiff here will see to it that you leave. should you attempt to enter the town, you will be arrested. And I think you're a fairly easy person to spot coming in and out, so please don't try it. Don't put us in the position of having to deal with this unsavory issue again.
Of course not.
And as for your would-be...
I will be given an opportunity to pick up my belongings, right?
Of course.
Okay.
And as for the bandit Bob, his trial is slated for the next few days. Unfortunately, you won't be around here to witness it. I will oversee that trial. But I think with the evidence you've seen here today, it's pretty telling how that might turn out. So hopefully you won't have to fear for your safety from Bob or any of his bandit friends again.
Hopefully not, but...
Thank you very much.
I was hoping I could spend more time in your city and enjoy the sights and make friends and... I don't know.
Enjoy the sights?
Well, yeah. It's a little bit different, but...
Well, you're sweet. But that's all there is for now. The bailiff will escort you to either side of the city that you need to exit through. And I wish you the best of luck in your journeys and adventures.
Thank you.
Farewell. And the judge leaves you.
Goodness.
Okay. Wait, so there's the person who's supposed to guide us.
Yeah, the bailiff is with you. He'll walk you out through town, and you'll be...
I forget if I left my belongings in the inn, or if someone took them.
The guards have
grabbed it.
acquired... Yeah,
Okay.
they've got your stuff, and they'll take it with you to whichever exit of town you want.
Including my staff, right?
All your stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, 100% of your stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And nothing's been stolen or damaged or tampered with. You can keep your character sheet just as is.
Yeah, then northern exit, please.
Excellent. Some of these possessions include the new map that you have that you were given or sold by the map maker. And so this is a fine time to take a look at the map and see what the rest of the world has to offer for us.
Oh, what day was this, by the way? The trial happened on? On the 11th?
Yes.
Okay.
Full trial on the 11th.
A lot of map here.
Hell yeah.
So we can see on our map, this forest way over here is the Elven Wood that your new friends, or whatever friends, have talked about. And they've mentioned that it used to be larger, but its boundaries are now this. Hard to say what it would be. This is Mount Carmine, the mountain you can see from Trog Canyon. It is one of the three sisters of mountains that sort of come across this range. There are 5 new towns marked on this map. This one here, here, and this one here. These little symbols mean bridges to cross these rivers. So you can cross, this river here, and this river here, and this river here. The rest of those river areas might be crossable, might not be crossable, might be fordable. You'll have to, if you ever come across those areas, you'll have to figure out ways to cross, if not at a bridge. The symbol of this town is different because this town is fully walled off. This is like a big mesa that surrounds this town, and there's a wall that fully, encompasses the town. So it's got mountains at its back, wall in front, and is heavily fortified in that capacity. You'll see way down over here is the ruins of Feromonium. Feromonium is the old capital of this region of the Farron Empire. It is ruined now and resides in a swamp. The histories of this area that you would have learned tell you that this whole range of swamp is new. Back in the day, before the war, this was, wonderful, lush, fertile farmland. The capital was surrounded by wonderful farmland and whatnot, and it is now just like a bleak, desolate, I shouldn't say desolate, but life-filled, dangerous, swampy swamp. And the last thing to draw your attention to is this crater way up here, which you might have heard some rumors of. Maybe Tristel actually would have heard about this before. This is called in the area the Crater of the Divine. In our cosmology here, the gods are constellations in the sky. And when I say they're constellations, like that's actually what the god looks like on their home plane of existence. They are the constellation, or at least that's the best that your human or elf or tabaxi eyes can tell. And when a god comes to Earth, they come in the form of like a meteor. Or a comet in the sky for a while, and then a meteor that actually lands. So this crater is indicative of a time that a god came onto the planet generations and generations in the past.
Damn.
There would have been a lot of knowledge about this, but it's sort of been lost in and amongst the war as so much knowledge faded from the world, and this area sort of became a little bit more depressive. But this is a mark of historical significance, which may or may not ever come up in this campaign. And I think that's all the things in the map to point out to you.
You point out the forest, right?
Yeah, the Elven Wood is the one way over here, on the far left.
It's a little bit further than I thought. They're like, oh yeah, it's like kind of south and mountain over yonder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Elves.
Elves. What strange creatures. Anyway, as you exit the town, there are some elves. Speaking of them, waiting for you outside the town. They've got a little tent set up, just a small little circular pavilion tent little thing. Room for 3 people, and they're just hanging out inside the shade there. And as you exit, they quickly tear it down and walk up to you. Friends, you've
Hello,
made it out
friends.
alive.
We did.
we
I
did.
know you had your doubts, but here we are.
Excellent. We are most pleased to see that you're here today. Safe and sound.
Yeah, so am I. Oh my goodness. I was so long ago I felt grass. And I kneel down to the grass and lie down.
Touch some grass.
Touch some grass.
Well, I'm glad that you've made it out. We were wondering if we could come back with you to your town to see this water elemental of which you've spoken.
Absolutely. We were also wondering if you'd come back with us. As we mentioned, the magic is definitely something to be of interest, and we'd love to be able to take a look.
Yes.
What's your business with the water elemental?
We have none at this moment, but it is a matter of interest to us.
You don't-
Perhaps it is something with...
You don't have any intent on, like attacking it or anything violent, do you?
No.
Okay,
Of
because
course
we're
not.
friends with them, and yeah. Okay, that's good. Sorry, there's a
No,
lot of
we
people that
have-
we hear that seem to be pretty violent towards these, so...
Well, that is not us. We would never seek to bring harm to such a creature. Unless, of course, it was absolutely needed. However, it does not threaten any of our lands and does not threaten us, and I'm sure it'll be fine. We appreciate that you've been kind and patient with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very
Yes.
kind. Well, actually, for the most part, they're very kind. They can sometimes
They're
be...
very kind. They have their opinions of us mortal plane walkers, but very, very sweet, very helpful.
Faintly nods along with that. That seems... Elementals can be dangerous at times, particularly feisty creatures. Some more than others, but it appears you have a strong working relationship, so we would not like to stand in the way.
They did, the cave where they reside, there's quite a lot of strange things going on there that might be of your interest as well.
Please tell us more.
It's hard to describe. I think it's better if you go visit the cave for yourself.
Okay. Take us there then, she says.
Do we have to? I'm really tired, and this grass feels so good. Can we just, nap here for a while?
Of course.
I've been in a jail cell. You have no idea what it's like. Oh my goodness. It was horrible.
The elves reset up their tent, make it a little bit bigger on the base to allow everyone to come in and sit in the shade. And then they will ask you, well, tell us what human jail is like. We hear it is dark and dreary and cold and sad. You cannot see the sky. You cannot hear the birds. There is no wind on your face. Is this, as you felt it?
Mm-hmm. I was in a small cell with, I think, 6 other people, one of which who were bullying me, and it was such a small space, and everyone was coughing, and I was really scared. And then I was put in another cell where I was completely alone, in just a box with almost no light and no people there for an entire week. And I was fed. Nobody gave me any meat until the very last day. It was horrible.
Barbaric. You know, these are some of the reasons why we don't associate with the humans quite so closely. Their ways are very unlike ours. They say with a frown.
Well, I mean, not all humans, right? It seems like, at least in Kaela, they do this.
Well, you might not have been here long enough to see how this is a trend within their population. The empire that was here before, just so recently ago, I believe they called it the Farron Empire, had similar policies and practices. I think it's a trait of humans in general to punish each other through the stripping of freedoms.
How do you do it in your society? Whenever...
We have very little in the way of conflict like that.
No conflict at all? No one...
I wouldn't say no
theft
conflict, but...
Or violence?
There's very little elf violence. Our population is long-lived. We live thousands of years easily. And there are so very few of us. And our social bonds are very close. Some of the things that drive humans to violence and social troubles don't plague us. We don't have a scarcity of food. We don't have a scarcity of housing. Everyone has their own jobs and to perform, but everyone is sort of independent. We don't build cities and societies in quite the same way. Our social ills are categorically different. It's not theft and murder. There's not really a word in the common tongue for it. It's a harder concept to explain. We would call it irresponsibility. And mostly we solve our problems through nice long deliberations with periods of calm in between, coming together every year or two to see if any progress has been made. We solve most of our problems through the gift of time and distance and perspective.
That sounds a little bit like the dragon kind. You know, living long years and living on their own.
Many people have drawn similar comparisons between the wise and aged dragons and the wise and aged elves, and I think the longevity and perspectives that come there within are fair to draw, but we don't quite have the sharp teeth.
True.
That was a joke.
Oh.
Please laugh.
It was pretty fun.
It's fine.
And then
It's
I
fine.
laugh with my sharp teeth.
Well, you can sit in the grass. Is there anything you want to say with them, or do we just want to wait here for a little while before heading out?
I think Pearl just wanted a quick nap in something that is not horrible. So it doesn't have to be all night.
Yeah.
While she was napping, actually, I wanted to make one last stop in Kaela. To the wife, Bob's wife.
Oh yeah, you're gonna give her the rest of that money?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna try and convince her to come with us because Bob's going to jail forever.
Okay.
And we were asking like, oh, like we should, you know, people in Kaela, it kind of sucks to live there.
True.
You know, we need more people in Trog Canyon and have like, we're growing our wealth. We're developing our town.
I see. So you go to Bob's wife, back within the confines of Kaela, back to the south side of town, which is a little bit more run down, back to that door with the stripes on it. This time it's open, and Bob's wife is standing in the street chatting with a nearby neighbor when you come walking up. And she recognizes you right away, waves the neighbor off, and puts her hands on her hips. Have you heard from Bob? I haven't seen him. What's going on?
Well, unfortunately, I do not bear good news on that front. Bob was involved in a trial. Could have gone better for him. I dare say I think he admitted to many more crimes than he was initially charged for, so...
Oh, Bob.
I wish I came with better news. I want to, like, come closer and, like, take her hand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he'll ever be freed, to be honest. They're quite harsh. They're quite harsh in the court, and I would like to offer you a place in our town. See, we've traveled far to come here and bring our wealth to this city, and another part of that is that we're always looking for new members of our town. We're growing, we're developing, and there's a lot of opportunity and promise there. I guess it breaks my heart to know that your children, they deserve a better chance.
Wait, what are you saying? Are you saying that you want me to leave town and move my family?
Offering it if it's something you're interested in. Of course, I will grab 100 gold. Like, we'll still offer you this. This was part of an agreement per se with Bob. Insurance rather, for you and your children. It's just something I wanted to offer in case you're interested. Of course, by no means feel obligated to join us, but there is a place in our town if you're looking for a new life.
What is this? That means we would just leave here and go where? Where is this place that you're offering?
It's north, near... Are you familiar with the ruins of Northridge?
Mm-hmm.
So we live in a small town, just north of there. I hope I don't come across too withholding with information. It is off the beaten path, and we like to keep it that way. We like to keep ourselves safe. I mean, Kaela, of all places, understands the dangers of warlords, and we do our best to keep all of our citizens safe. In any case,
Do I have to decide now?
Of course not. We'll be making visits in the future to Kaela, and if it's something of interest, then, well, we seem to make quite the commotion when we come in. I'm sure you'll be able to find me.
She looks troubled. What's the place like? Is it like this?
Small, but it is very happy. We have festivals from now and then. It's a group of hardworking people. I myself am an outsider, and they took me in with open arms. And in fact, now I consider it my home.
You know, when someone offers you something too good to be true, it's probably not.
I understand. I must seem very strange. A stranger offering you to come to a new town, probably very suspicious. In any case, I don't want to come off that way. It's just a kind offer. We've had others join us from cities, came across our town and stayed there.
I'll think about it, she says as she snags one of the kids running by and holds it close to her legs. And you say Bob is probably never getting out again?
I don't know about his luck in that regard.
Okay. Well, next time you come back, come find me, and I need some time to think about this. It's a big change. I've only ever known this place. My children have friends here. That's the only place we know, and I don't have any professions. I've got a bunch of kids to watch over, you know? Well, I don't even know how I would make ends meet in a town like that.
And we are close knit. We find opportunities for people to help out. Like I said, we're growing, we're developing. So every day there's new opportunities for all of us to work together. We also have a nice bar, I have to say. We're developing that. We actually stumbled across some mead, so I'm actually quite happy with how that's developing. In any case, opportunities.
Thank you. And thank you for coming to see me. I don't think no one's ever bothered to check in with me when Bob's been in trouble in the past.
Oh, it's not a problem, and do take care.
Okay. Thank you. And you can leave. And as our dear friends leave Kaela and head back to Trog Canyon, I would like the both of you to make me... What check is this that I need you to make me here? I think these are just Constitution saving throws. Please, both of you.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I was worried about this because I was in a cell.
Mm-hmm.
You think that?
Where did my character sheet go?
Great question.
What?
12 on a con save. Let's see, you were in town for a week. So for you, a 12 is a pass. Your DC was 11. Pearl was kept in tight quarters in a prison with poor ventilation and bad health conditions. So her con check is going to be a 13 or higher for a success.
Okay. How intentional is this check, and how intentional is Tides of Chaos?
This check is not intentional. It is a check made at the end of a slow accumulation process. Tides of Chaos, I don't think, can come into play here, since it's not.
Yeah, I would have to like be
you're resisting at the
aware
moment.
of some event.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're fine for now.
Whoa!
We'll get you next time, Pearl.
What? How? I'm not even allowed in there. So there, I won't be
That's
gotten.
a good way to not get a disease is to never go in there.
Mm-hmm.
You got me there, Pearl.
That's my strategy for COVID. I just never go places.
It's a valid strat. It's a valid strat.
Right. Well, our party can travel across the plain and head back to Trog Canyon. With
However, we did have the paint as well. The paint for for Stuka. But maybe it's really awkward to go visit the necromancer while we have elves tagging along.
Well, I think the paint would have been in the cart full of gold and other things that Kyra took back.
Yes, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think
I could see Kyra leaving it on the edge of the bone palace and then just like yeeting away.
I could see that too. Yeah. So our party can spend. I think there's 5 of you walking now. 3 to 4 days to get back. You probably didn't leave first thing in the morning, so we'll call it 4 days to return to Kaela with Feli and 2 other elves, right? I do believe it was 3 of them. And you also have your bows and your gold and your map and your paint and... That says Forest of Mystery.
We met up with the elves on the day of the trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So...
You're released that same day.
Okay.
So it'll be 4 days home, including that day. So 11, 12, 13, 14 is when you will arrive home in the late afternoon.
Okay.
Trog Canyon. Excellent. And back into the canyon we will arrive. Where's our Trog Canyon theme song? Nope.
Hey, we need to work out our pitch for bringing in villagers. I know we like went to Kaela with that in mind, but like
we need an elevator pitch.
We need an elevator pitch, maybe a pamphlet, but that's also culty. Like, it's all coming off. It's a really hard, especially because no one knows where we're at. Like, come join our secret and play some secrets.
It's not a cult if people are allowed to leave, right?
That's true.
Well, how do they know
That's
that?
how I would sell it.
Well, but I think it's suspect if someone's giving you a pitch and they are like, "It's not a cult, we swear." Like,
You
know,
are
I
allowed to
wasn't
leave.
thinking, but now I'm thinking it.
What are you guys the cult of?
We're not. There's not even like a solid thing to be culty about.
Uh-huh. You're
Maybe
just
the
recruiting people
magic.
to your mysterious town in a canyon filled with magic.
Yes. Cult
Yeah.
of friendship
No.
and magic.
I think I might write a song about it. Friendship and magic.
Friendship and magic.
That took a second to hit. Trog Canyon needs like a jingle.
Mm-hmm. Get some sort of like old-time radio jingle to go along with it, right? Trog Canyon, Trog Canyon.
Very like Fallout kind of vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Trog Canyon. This is where you can. You can't use companion as a verb, can you? Come and be our companion.
Trog Canyon.
Come be our companion. Find the friendship. Find the magic. You can't leave, so it's quite tragic.
You can
Canyon of
leave.
companionship.
Oh wait, sorry.
You can leave. We'll workshop it. I think there's something there. Trog Canyon Companion, I think, is a good.
A subtitle, you can leave at any time! Exclamation mark.
Ooh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not sketch at all.
Stay a while. Stay a while, but leave when you want. That's like in small text underneath. Stay a while, but leave when you want. Nobody's keeping you here. We think you'll like it, though.
There has to
I
be
think
like
that's a great way to advertise yourself.
like roadside like motels or something have to have a lot of cheesy slogans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Came for the.
Drug
I like
hit.
that. It came for the friendship, stayed for the bar. More like came for the friendship, stayed for the glory hole.
Oh.
Stayed for the magic.
No.
I
It
think
seemed
we-
like
yeah,
such
yeah.
a good idea at the time, but I have so many regrets over that.
You know, I
mean-
think if it's Gloria's character, she's a little
Yeah.
nasty.
That's what she's like.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But like it doesn't have to be the canonical name. It's just a name amongst them, you know?
That's true. We need to rename it personally, like the town, and then just let Gloria have her.
Mm-hmm.
We should just
nickname.
name it after the water elemental. I forgot their name. They were named.
Were they?
Yeah. What did we name them? Why are there so many notes? Oh, Crystal, I think. Right?
That sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That sounds like what I would name a water elemental.
The Crystal Cave, or the Crystalline Cove, or something like that.
Because it's like a whole underwater. There's like a waterfall.
Crystal Falls. That could work.
Well,
And then that just kind of encompasses the entire water.
And it's really, like, intriguingly misleading. Like, why would a cave be called Crystal Falls? You would expect it to be a waterfall. And then it's like a good tourist attraction for our new cults.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god, no! You had me in the first half, not gonna lie.
Okay.
on your way to Trog Canyon, you will see in the distance, sort of south of Northridge, like a camp set up as you're on your way to Trog Canyon. In the evening, there's the sign of like 4 different fires and various tents around it. So it's got to be a large group of people. If you can put like 5 people around a fire, maybe 6 people around a fire, and there's 5 fires, we're talking like 30 people or something. They're at a good distance, maybe 2 miles off, so you don't have to interact with them, but if you would like to make a detour in the dark of night to go visit this encampment, you can, or you can leave it be.
I mean, we all have night vision, so it's not
That's
that
true.
dark.
That's very true. Everyone has night vision here. And how many?
You see 5 fires.
Oh,
Any
Can't tell how many
silhouettes?
people. Not at 2 miles distance.
Okay.
Not enough to see anything.
I'll turn to some of the elves and we don't often see that many people out here. It's pretty rare to see campfires. Do you think we should go say hi to them and see who they are?
Absolutely not. No.
Why not?
It's at least south of the river. If there are campfires in the wild, it's either a caravan under the protection of armed guards or warlords and bandits roaming, set up for the night.
But we've never had warlords all the way up here. That would be
You've never had warlords or bandits?
well. We've had well, actually, yes. There was
Yeah.
one, but I mean, she's
Oh.
happy and living in our town now, and she's helping out with a lot. You know?
she's kind of an ex-warlord. I
Yeah.
remember. But she's been rehabilitated.
I make no imposition on your actions. We firmly believe that each of us are free to make our own decisions in life, and that it is wrong to deny anyone any sort of agency. So if you wish to go inspect them, by all means do so. But if you ask my advice, I say leave the strangers in the plains alone.
But don't you think? What if they're dangerous? What if it has consequences for the future? What if they're heading north?
Okay.
Or I don't know. Or we can just head to Trog Canyon. Just a little bit worried. Never see people out here.
If you think it is better to inspect and find out what's happening, gather intelligence. Your situation is very different from ours. Our lands are far away from these people and are not threatened by them. So we have no reason to visit.
I suppose
You may
we'll.
see things differently.
I guess
You
we're.
could take a closer look. You're very quiet, you're very stealthy, and probably can lend you a bit of additional stealth to go unseen. Take a closer look, gather some intel, come back.
That's true. We could do that.
I agree. I think it would be nice to get a better idea of who these people are. But I also don't think we should engage directly.
No, just investigate and see what they're up to. Okay. Do you
So
mind
who's
if we
going to
do
go
that?
investigate?
And I ask the elves.
Yeah.
We will wait here for you to return.
Okay. So they were 2 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how far is that on the map?
You
That
walk
is-
3.5 miles an hour, so it's a half-hour walk.
Okay.
Ish, a little more.
So, question about the way invisibility works.
Mm-hmm.
Range, it says touch, so I have to touch her
Mm-hmm.
to cast it. And then concentration to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a limit on how far away I can be?
No.
Okay.
If you make her invisible, then you can walk away. And as long as you don't cast another spell that requires concentration or get attacked or, get distracted by something, the spell can be maintained over any distance.
That's good.
How
wait,
long?
so it's half an hour to get there. How long does it last?
An hour. So
Right. Oh, wait, 2 miles. So that would be 1 hour exactly. So I guess we could walk
So
half
then
of the...
I need to go most of the way there.
Yeah. But we're like super far away, right? So it shouldn't be easy to spot us in the darkness.
Nope,
No,
would
because
be
we won't need a
difficult.
light.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I think we'll just walk close then. Like,
Sure.
at a safe distance.
Yeah, you get to within a 10-minute walk from them.
Mm-hmm.
So you get like a mile closer. And at that range, Tristel can easily turn you invisible, and you can get close and hang out for 10 minutes or half an hour and then walk back and still have plenty of time on your invisibility.
From the range of 10 minutes, do we see anything else? Like, do we see any silhouettes, or can count approximately how many they are? Any spearheads pointing up?
At a mile of range, you can see that there are some tents with the kind of in and around the fires. They're just like little triangular pup tents. And you can make out the shapes of figures hunched near the fire, but any other detail is hard to get. So there's definitely people there. It's not just like 5 random fires in the middle of nowhere. And there's definitely tents, but you don't see any... Well, actually, give me a perception check. Let's see if you could maybe make out some of these details. The higher you do, the more detail I'll give you. If you get a 15 or less, you don't get any additional detail.
Okay.
So.
Yep, not much more.
Yep, that's it.
Right. Then I will go in invisible, I suppose. Pretty cautiously.
And
I think I want to try to be as silent as possible. And I don't want to like walk in amongst them, but rather like circle the camp.
Sure.
And I would want to pay attention to like, well, how many they are, if they're armed, and with what, and like, do they seem to be military, or are they like bandits, or are they just traders or something? So yeah.
So you get. At what range would you like to circle them? Clearly, you don't want to be, touching them, but do you want to be 10 meters out, 100 meters out?
Yeah, I would say like 10 meters. Like, enough so that I can like sneak in the grass, but far away enough from the fire so that they wouldn't see, like, I don't know, grass changing a little bit. Actually, is it windy, or is it completely still?
It is... It's actually a very still night.
Okay. But the fires themselves must make a lot of, like, crackling noises and whatnot, so...
You can convince yourself of anything.
Okay, that's what I believe, at least.
Great. And so near to the camps you will go. Now, give me another perception check at 30 meters, and just don't really roll badly. You'll need like a 7.
Okay.
There you go. There's your 15. Yeah, just don't roll bad. It's fine. You get close. And what you can see is that there are indeed many, many figures huddled around the fires, all hunched over with big cloaks pulled low over them. And at first it's sort of difficult to make out any details, but as you shift and as the occasional breeze blows some cloaks around, and you get to a good position where someone is front lit by the fires, interestingly, most of them are like facing with their backs to you. Only a few of them are facing with their fronts to you. But you get to a position where you can see one from the front pretty well. And you can see that these are just, like, they're not people. They're like skeletons that have been propped up with cloaks put over them that are just, like, positioned around a fire. No one's moving. There's no cooking pots. There's no wagons or pack animals. There are tents set up, but there's no bedrolls inside of them. And the tents are, made of just whatever rags and fabrics are nearby. Looks like a pretty makeshift camp with like fake people.
Are there
at least skulls set on pipe? Well, with the 15, you can see that there's more than skulls on sticks. There's actually like rib cages behind them, sort of plopped around these fires, spread out. And there's not that many of them. There's 5 campfires, but there's only 10 of these skeletal figures with big, heavy cloaks draped over them.
Are the cloaks, like, consistent? Do they all have the same outfit? Or is it
No, they're sort of mismatched. And some of the cloaks are really just, like a sheet that has been quickly trimmed down and with some rope fastened for like to hold it in place. And it's not really even a full cloak. You definitely get the vibes of makeshift fake camp.
How far away is this from Northridge? Like, can I see Northridge from here? Or?
Not in the night. It's maybe like 8 to 10 miles from Northridge.
Okay. Okay. Stuka's up to weird stuff. Like there's basically nothing of substance there. Like the tents are basically empty and there's nothing on the ground. It's just like bare minimum to get a silhouette of a campfire and...
Yeah, the only thing that is there are, a pile of sticks and logs to refuel the fires, but you don't even see any people around to refuel the fires.
Okay. Okay, I think I gathered all the information I need, I think. I'll just go back then to the gang.
Okay. Yeah, you meet up with Tristel on the way back.
Okay, Tristel. I think this is Stuka's. Oh, sorry, I'm right next to you. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to spook you.
Hello.
I keep forgetting. There's skeletons there. It looks like it's just a decoy camp, and I'm guessing Stuka probably did this.
Odd.
Don't know why, but
Bit troubling.
yeah. I don't know what to make of it. Maybe Stuka's just putting it up to, I don't know, defend himself from any would-be attackers or something, but...
I think that the armed guards and the giant bone tower would be enough defense.
One would hope. Yeah.
Let's return back to our camp.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it.
He could be scouting.
Mm-hmm.
For what, I don't know.
But it really
Or
looked like it was set up to just
bones.
appear like a camp. It didn't seem like they were actually a real camp. There was no signs of, walking around there, living there, leaving items there. It was just all very much like a facade.
Dolls? Little...
Kind of?
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, Stuka.
I feel like we should talk to Stuka about this. Just to know what he's up to. Maybe not now with, our new friends, but...
Okay. Definitely. Our next time we stop by Northridge, or perhaps a journey specifically to confront him about it, we can do it. But definitely, I think we should definitely, keep our lookout.
Yeah. Okay, let's head back to our elven friends.
Yeah, you get back to the elves a little bit later. I guess Pearl is still invisible, but they see Tristel coming. What did you see? What did you find? Where's Pearl?
Oh, I'm right here. Sorry, I'm not visible, but I'm here.
One of the elves, not Fele, but one of the other ones, their head, when you alert yourself invisibility, their head quickly snaps in your direction, and their hand, instinctively goes to their side to where short sword is.
Oh, no.
And then, recognizing your voice, they relax very quickly. But you get the impression that this person is very sort of alert and what do you call it? Easily triggered.
Right. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I scared Tristel earlier too, and I don't know how to let people know that I'm here, but I'm here. Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. We're just cautious. It's a dangerous world.
I don't quite know how to describe what we saw. It looked like a decoy camp. Not an actual camp, just a camp set up to look like there's a camp over there.
No people?
No.
Alive?
And I very
Bodies?
noticeably hesitate on that. There were no dead bodies per se. And no. They were
What did you
skeletons.
Animated skeletons?
They were sitting around the campfire, and it looked like they were, standing up and sitting around the campfire.
We've heard there's a necromancer in these parts.
Yes. Yeah. We
Enigmatic fellow.
kind of know this person. We don't know if this weird campus is his creation, but
You think there are 2 necromancers in the area?
it's possible. But or
Tilts
Not-
their head
it's not
gently.
possible. Okay.
It's also not unlike him to, well, he likes to play pretend with these reanimated skeletons. He set up in Northridge and having them build him a tower. It's a little strange, but we've spoken to him and he doesn't seem to mean too much harm. He doesn't attack us when we approach, and just offered us wine that was pretty good, actually. But definitely strange.
Necromancy is a dark and terrible deed. It binds the souls of those in the afterlife to their mortal forms, splits their post-death cognition into what the afterlife ought to be, and horrors of the reality of inhabiting their skeletal form.
Oh, that
The
sounds
very
bad.
nature of undead causes suffering to those who were raised.
Oh, I thought he kind of brought them somewhat back to life.
Somewhat. Their spirit is tied to their form, and turned bitter and angry. Its worst version of itself is brought forth. Undead are innately an abomination. Unless you have good reason, I would ask your permission to go dispatch these skeletons now.
But I mean, Stuka has been nice to us, and he's not gonna like that. He spent a lot of time building up the city and trying to recreate what Northridge once was, and I don't know, it seems we can't just attack him, right?
Undead are spirits who are enslaved to physical beings. The process of having your soul enslaved tends to bring out the worst in people.
That does sound pretty bad.
Whatever souls are bound to these skeletons are forced into an unnatural existence. Their spirits are innately suffering every moment they exist as in this form.
You should tell this to Stuka. Maybe he doesn't know.
Oh, sweet innocent child, how could he not know?
Well, I didn't know.
You're not a necromancer.
I
And
hope not.
poorly educated. I'm sorry, that
Well-
might be rude. I understand human society has collapsed and a lot of knowledge has been lost, and perhaps you did not have someone to teach you these things.
Look, I've been trying to learn, but there's limited resources in our town.
I understand. My words may have been harsh.
It is uncommon, but the issues you've raised, I think we have been keeping an eye on him. Certainly his behavior isn't typical and a bit weird. So we've been keeping an eye on him. Again, he didn't seem harmful, but with what you've brought up, it definitely begs the question if we should maybe intervene at this point.
He was so nice to us. He's
he was
just
nice.
very strange.
I do think that it's probably worth regrouping a little, gathering our things in Trog Canyon. We do have quite a few guards, soldiers that came back with us, so I just don't know if this group is ample reinforcements, because, well, he has a lot of bones.
He has
lot of
raised many people?
skeletons. We fear he may
20?
have raised the
50?
entire graveyard of Northridge.
The elves immediately exchange looks and will quickly slip into the elven tongue and talk hurriedly amongst themselves for, 40 or 50 seconds before coming to a steadfast agreement and nodding their heads.
Does Tristel know Elven?
Unfortunately, despite being a half-elf, she was only raised in and amongst humans, and the elven tongue is one that she has not had an opportunity to learn.
Okay.
Very sad. They look to the two of you. A necromancer of this strength, summoning entire graveyards. If whatever the source of this magic is something this necromancer gets a hold of, do you know how many dead are out here in the plains? How many dead are surrounding this area? The huge numbers of soldiers that fought in the war here? There's a potential for great and deep eternal suffering for all of these souls. All of the dead may spend their afterlife in pain. If this... You called him Stuka?
Yes, Stuka.
If this creature is not stopped... Let me tell you of the afterlife, so you may understand the depth of the tragedy occurring here. When you enter the afterlife, you enter it with what you are buried, whole and intact around the middle of your lifespan. So if you die at, say, 400 years old, let me convert to human years. If you die at 50 years of age, you will appear in the afterlife around the midpoint of your lifespan, around 25 years of old. And you may freely walk among the moments of all of your life as an outside observer, dressed as you were when you were buried, with all of the things with which you were buried. If you're buried with food and wine, you can eat and drink plenty as you in the afterlife. If you're wearing fine clothes when you're buried, then in the fine afterlife you have fine clothes. If these things are taken from your corpse, then they disappear from you in the afterlife. New souls are spun from the old, and each soul in the afterlife slowly diminishes, slowly fades, becoming a weaker and less substantial version of itself. Eventually, they are only a shadow of the person they once were. In this time, you may walk among the moments of your life as a third person, viewing the moments in your life in any order. Those sad, mean creatures with particularly horrible lives may spend decades of the afterlife living in only a handful of peaceful or joyous moments, while those with good lives may find the whole of their afterlife quite enjoyable. As the decades and centuries of existence pass in the afterlife, you are able to view your life more objectively and take in the whole of it. You may find that you were a much, much better or a much, much worse person than you thought you really were in your normal life. Or you may simply not care. All of the while, you are slowly fading from existence. Eventually, you'll only be 1% of who you were, only 1% aware, only 1% real, then 0.1%, 0.01%, so forth and so on. You're always yourself, just simply less and less of it. Undead, however, are spirits who are enslaved to their formal physical beings. The more intelligent and aware of a creature you are, the more of your personality that you maintain. The process of having your soul enslaved tends to bring out the worst in people, though, so undead incarnations are usually the absolute worst version of whoever it is that is enslaved. You enslave a nice person into the body of a corpse, and they're going to be the worst version of that nice person, their pettiest, meanest, most cruel-spirited form possible. Even mindless undead, like ordinary skeletons, are a real person's soul being pulled through in a small amount and twisted into this ugly form. If you were raised as a mindless zombie for 100 years, you would spend 100 years in the afterlife sort of seeing double, experiencing your life as you please, but also the experience of being a zombie. You would feel the endless cold. You would feel the endless hunger. You would feel that worst version of yourself for those 100 years. If you were raised as a particularly complicated and intelligent undead, maybe a ghost or a specter or a death knight, you may have little to no part of yourself still visiting in the past lives. You may have all of your consciousness twisted and malformed and existing as the evil creature doing the evil things. And then if you are slain, that is now a part of your life. You spend 100 years as a murderous zombie and only 50 years as an ordinary person, then for eternity, 2/3 of your afterlife existence that you can go through would be as a mindless, evil zombie.
But wouldn't killing them be painful still? Or...
You would stop them from doing more horrors, more evil deeds. You would end their suffering.
Saving them a bit. Oh, this is horrible.
Wait, but if all of this is true, we've made a big mistake. But what do we tell Stuka? How do we talk to Stuka? Does he know?
Are you suggesting we visit him
He must know.
now?
Would he not be able to do this in case he didn't know about the afterlife and how these souls get entrapped? Or...
A man that can raise entire graveyards must be very capable with his magics. He must study them and work them. I understand as a wild sorceress, for you magic is sort of chaotic and it's not quite understood. It flows from you freely and you must work to control it. For the rest of us, wizards, necromancers, even clerics, magic is something that has to be worked for, something that has to be understood. There's no waste. This creature could raise 100 undead without knowing the intimate details of how to draw the spirits from the afterlife, without knowing the very process by which souls are enslaved to do his bidding.
But then...
There is no way to raise spirits without understanding. Almost no way to raise spirits without understanding the magnitude of your impact.
But then why would he be kind to us and be all friendly if he's doing all of these horrible things?
Your skull.
We could have taken it, right? I mean...
I'm not sure. Something that's coming to mind is the first time we met him, he asked for our names, and I was very hesitant to give them, and in fact gave him false names.
Good. True names have incredible power. You understand the power of word and song. You understand the power that flows innately through you. There is magic to be had in the names of people. It's best you hide your true identities from those who have exemplary spellcraft.
This is something I suspected. Definitely an intuition as far as why he was asking, but now with what you're saying, it does give me pause about his intentions, if he in fact wanted to harm us after all.
You keep calling him a creature. Well, why is that?
Why do I refer to Stuka as a creature?
Yeah.
Was not an elf. I don't know his species.
Oh, human,
he's
I
human.
believe.
Ah,
I wasn't sure if it was... I wasn't sure if necromancers were maybe, like, not people or something. He certainly seems like a person.
no, I was simply trying not to assume his species.
Do you think there's any way maybe we can talk to him and have him reverse this? So we don't have to fight?
The elves... Faylee looks over to Tristel. She is so sweet. Is she always this innocent?
Look, we've been able to talk to a lot of people, and...
We do try to approach things in a diplomatic manner. Pearl's definitely a kind heart and sees the goodness in others, and for that I will never fault her.
What a gentle and pure soul you are, Pearl. Kind, honest, wondrousful creature.
So why don't we talk to him? I think if he knows how to do this, he surely knows how to undo this, right? And I'm sure he wouldn't want a conflict, would he? That would just destroy everything he's built.
Faylee gets up, as well as her companions, and she will draw her short sword at her side and say, I know one way to end the suffering, at least for those creatures in that encampment there. If you wish to speak to Stuka, that is your agency. You may do as you wish. But we are going to go end the suffering of those poor creatures now.
What if that will
We'll be back.
anger him?
I am not worried about angering an evil man.
I think we don't know for certain that it's his. So likely.
And you will not have done anything to him. We will.
Okay. I'm just a little bit worried because we're associated with each other now, and maybe he knows. I don't know. But I guess it sounds like the right thing to do.
We'll be back. And the three elves jog into the distance to go deal with the encampment.
I will sit down in the grass and think about life and death.
Oh no.
Look up into the night sky.
That's real deep, Pearl.
Yeah.
Well, eventually the elves will come back in an hour or so. They'll sit down quietly. You'll see the fires are out by now.
How,
They don't say much about it.
How did it go? Did you end the suffering?
It was quick and simple. They were not complicated undead. Loosely held by magic. Hopefully their souls will only have suffered mildly for a short period of time. The stronger the undead, the more suffering is brought forth.
Is it possible for Stuka to give them a good life? Maybe not a violent life?
The experience could be made as pleasant as possible, but it is still going to be the worst version of the person experiencing a soft and pleasant life. If that makes sense. You're still altering a person to be their nastiest form, their strongest negative emotions. It's the easiest emotion to tie to a physical form are the negative ones. The rage in each person that resists death, the anger and spite. They're strong, powerful emotions. It is very rare that a spirit is bound to the world out of love. Usually when it is, it's out of a jealous love or an obsessive, dangerous love. Rarely, very, very rarely, can creatures remain in this world through kindness or a sweet and gentle love. Perhaps occasionally guardian spirits could technically be defined as undead, but not be the worst versions of themselves. It is theoretically possible. It's much, much harder to do. Anger is the fast and easy path to this sort of existence.
So you're saying he could possibly do this, but not raising them through their anger?
They would have to be creatures of immense compassion, and Stuka would have to be a very powerful spellcaster. If you see hundreds,
Curious. topic. Is it possible? So, suppose we have another situation that we haven't addressed back home. Is it possible to raise someone from the dead and they go about in their mortal flesh completely as they were when they're alive?
No. The process of raising from someone from the dead almost always enslaves them to your will. If you raise a being from the dead, they are bound to you. You might tell them to act normally, to behave as they would in life, if they are strong enough undead that can have personality and thought and aren't mindless skeletons. You could tell them to behave in a way that might seem ordinary, but they are definitely servants of evil.
Okay, that's not good.
I think we have something interesting to attend to then.
Would you be able to tell if you met such a person? Well, one of these exceptions. How do you know I'm not one of them? Maybe I'm undead.
Let me check. Faylee comes over to you and sits down and takes your hand in her hand and holds it and says, I feel warmth flowing through you. I feel the force of life within you. You are clearly alive. No undead will be warm unless it's, a burning body, which is not quite the same as internal warmth, as life force. You could not be undead.
Okay.
Undead
I'm
are
actually kind of glad to hear
always
that.
cold
Thanks
to
for
the touch.
checking. Then, yeah, you might want to meet someone in town.
I think it's definitely more urgent than attending to this necromancer, especially since you disposed of this camp. Yes, we have an individual at home who definitely needs a discerning eye such as yours.
Are there undead in your town?
Well,
There's a woman. Oh, the kindest woman. Oh, and she passed suddenly. Assumed it was old age, and she's lived a very full life. Her and her wife keep the inn that I call my home, and we came back. What was it? A few weeks after this had happened, that she passed, and there was a bell above her grave ringing. We dug it up, and there she was, just as lively as ever.
but very cold to the touch.
Yes, that is what's concerning.
That's not a good sign.
Is it not? She came back to life. Her wife was really happy to, see her again.
She did say she's not quite the same. She's a little more distant physically and doesn't seem to be interested in eating.
They tell you everything you need to know just with the dark faces they have.
I'm sorry. If you don't want to go on this trip, you can...
No. Our interest is in protecting whatever source of magic this is, to keep it out of the hands of necromancers and creatures like that, people like that. I think it's now more important than ever that we come see Trog Canyon for ourselves.
But you're not going to do anything... You're not going to kill them like the skeletons, are you?
We will save our judgment for the evidence we see before us, and we will speak with you about all matters in your town before taking any actions.
Okay.
We do not like to impose our will upon others.
Okay, that's good.
Shall we go in the morning?
Yes.
And I think that is where we can end our session for the day.
Oh boy.
Oh, what day was that? Where the camp was set up?
It was 2 days into your 4-day journey.
So we started on the 11th. So 13th?
Yeah, so it would have been the night of the 12th.
Oh, night of the 12th. Okay. Cool. Okay. Neat. Made it through the trial.
Well,
Heck yeah.
what a session.
You all seem a little bit concerned about someone in your town.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Just
You
somewhat.
want to share them?
I don't know. Like, I mean, it could be like Stuka resurrected this person, and maybe Stuka noticed that she was actually really nice and felt bad, and then maybe sent her on her way back to town or something. That's a very naive reading of it. Or it's just a freak accident of like the divine or something. But it would be weird for that to be like undead. I don't know. It's really weird. Or it's just a random fluke of the weird magic going around.
Yeah, there is a lot of magic in the area, and there's a necromancer in the area. Who is responsible?
I'm not totally certain that she's like an undead. I actually don't know a ton about like the possibilities of like creatures in 5e, and I kind of want to keep it that way. But I suspect there may be something else going on here, unrelated to Stuka.
You have hope still. That's beautiful.
Well, hope isn't that's a little bit strong. I really don't think anything good's going on, but
Pearl has hope. Pearl has too much hope.
lots of stuff.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully we will find out next weekend.
Yes. Let's see. Next weekend. When? How?
17th.
Oh god, my calendars are all scrambled. 17th. Yes, that looks great.
Splendid.
Easter.
Ooh.
Wait, so next? Okay, yes. Sorry, I'm. The calendar's all weird because it's Saturday and my brain's messed up.
Right.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Is Easter Sunday an acceptable day?
Oh yes, I don't observe, but
Okay.
I was just noting. I was like, ooh, it's like on my calendar. Someone asked in chat Easter. It's like a Christian thing.
Or
But I mean, it generally just like in the U.S. like celebrated as like a springtime thing. Like there's egg hunts and
Chocolate.
rabbits. Yeah, chocolate rabbits.
And candy and gummy worms.
Yeah.
I had to show Mudkip on stream.
Oh my god, so cute.
Oh,
I love the like
Derpy.
grab and then just kind of fall.
Yeah. So Anna is training him to wear a harness, and it's difficult to wear a harness. Your coordination system is a little off, but yeah. So excuse me. So this is Mudkip, and the other cat we're getting is Snorlax, and we're gonna be adopting them tomorrow, literally in the morning. So we're very excited for that. Yeah, it's gonna be so good. Here's Snorlax in case you want to see Snorlax. Such a little goober.
Oh.
I'm excited.
Literally tomorrow?
Literally tomorrow. So in like a few hours from now.
Gosh. So we're not gonna. No one's going to see you for some time, as you imagine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on a feline parental leave for a little bit. So,
Oh.
yeah.
So good.
I'm gonna try to film when they meet Thor for the first time, so that we have it on tape.
Oh my
So I think it would be really cute. Yeah. They're going to be 12 and a half weeks, almost 13 weeks old, I think. Yeah. Meanwhile, Thor is 13 years old. So it's quite a difference between them.
Lad. What a good lad. Oh, that'll be so fun. I'm so excited for y'all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, yeah, that's all the kittens I had to share. Oh, should also update on third player. Some of you may have seen the message that I posted in Neil's Discord. But Ashley is not going to play any longer in Embers. She really enjoyed playing and all of that, and it was great. But the anxiety of like being live every Sunday and having to be on and whatnot kind of got to her. And so she felt like she had to back off. It was a very difficult decision for like all of us. But I felt like that was kind of the right thing to do. And so we will be looking for a third player. So we'll see when that will turn out. But in the meantime, we're going to be just 2 players until then. Yeah. Just to update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay then. Catch everybody next week on Sunday.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm not going to do a post-stream chat this time because I want to go to bed as early as possible so I can get to kittens as soon as possible. So
The sooner you go to sleep, the sooner you get kittens.
Awesome.
yeah, because it's like a time skip. It's really a hack. So, but yeah, thank you all so much for joining. Thank you all so much for this session. This session was super fun.
So good.
You make great lawyers.
Bye.
Great. Bye everyone. I lost the button. Oh geez, I'm late. Where's my ended? There we go. Okay, bye.